Welcome to the Next Dimension Podcast, your portal to an extended reality. Every week we talk about the hottest topics in XR and let you join the discussion live on MRTV. And now, get ready for another exciting episode coming up.
Hi and welcome to Season 3, Episode 18 of the Next Dimension Podcast, your podcast that's all about VR and in the future also quite a bit of AR. I'm super excited about today's show because we have them here, the founders of Sidequest, Shane and Orla. And we're going to hear about their new project. Shane and Orla, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having us.
Wow, I'm excited about this because I wanted to speak with you for a long time, and today, finally, we get to speak with each other. So cool. Also here today, VR flight sim guy, Steve. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, Seb. It's great to be back on the show again.
Yeah, exactly. And here with us as well, Tetiana from Disco VR, and also Sidequest, by the way. So, Tetiana, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. You all should get really pumped up for this show. This is a very special one.
This is going to be good. And that's why I am doing really well as well. So, for all of you out there who don't know this podcast, as I mentioned, is all about XR. And we are live every Saturday. And well, if you don't want to watch the live show here on MRTV, you can also listen to this podcast as an audio podcast everywhere where you can find podcasts on Google, on Alexa, Spotify, and so on and so forth. So if you enjoy the show, the best thing that you could do is, well, you could give us a 5-star review on Spotify or on iTunes. So why not just get out your iPhone or iPad, find the podcast app, find the Next Dimension Podcast, and give us a 5-star review so that more people can find this podcast. Today, we have a show that we're going to split into two parts. The first part, the first hour or so, it deals with our guest, Shane and Orla, Sidequest, and of course, the new social app, Banter. That's the first hour or so. I'm very excited about it. And then in the second part of the show, it is going to be, me and Steve and Tetiana talking about hardware things like, for example, the Pimax Crystal. Tetiana has it there, and also Steve has received it. And both have, equal experiences, but also different experiences. So that is going to be really interesting. Cool. I have a very nice different headset here. The big screen beyond. It's so small people can probably even not see it. It's super small. Look at this. It's incredible. Yeah, so that's going to be interesting. And we're also going to talk about the DPVR E4 that Tetiana and me both reviewed. So it's going to be super exciting. But first of all, let's talk about our weeks. And I would like to hear from Shane and Orla. So Shane and Orla, you are the developers and the founders of Sidequest, an amazing app that has completely revolutionized the Quest and gave so much value to the original Quest. It is completely crazy how your app has changed the whole Quest ecosystem. That is fantastic. So congrats to that, first of all. And now you also are introducing a completely new app called Banter. And we will talk about it so much. But first of all, before we get into this, I want to know, how does your normal work week look like these days? What are you guys doing?
You want to take that one first, Orla?
Oh God, mine's really boring. Well, some of it's fun, right? I look after all the operational side of things, so usually that's the stuff that keeps the business running, like finance and legal and HR and all those kind of scary stuff. But on the other side of it, I get to manage the marketing and community teams. So the last few weeks have been really fun in the ramp up to launching Banter, and it's always really high energy and really inspiring. So that's the fun part of my job. So I'm really grateful to have people like Tetiana on the team, bringing that energy.
Okay. Yeah, cool. Great. And yeah, Shane, how about you? What are you doing actually next to inventing all these crazy, amazing things?
What isn't he doing?
Ooh,
Yeah, what are you not
yeah,
doing? Yeah, tell us.
a lot of work, I guess, is really what's involved, right? But it's not as bad as it sounds because it's fun work, right? Because it's
Yeah.
stuff you're passionate about. It's getting to work on your hobby, that kind of thing, right? But we have a 4-day working week at Sidequest, and I think I'm probably one of the few people who doesn't adhere to it as much. But the last few months have been really interesting as we've kind of been digging into Banter. Banter is definitely a new thing for us. Yeah, I mean, I think we're a VR company, and we don't have as many assets, let's say, in VR. Most of our software for the longest time has worked from a PC or from another device. So I think we're really excited to see how much Meta has messed up in the whole metaverse space.
Wow.
And
That is interesting to hear, man. Yeah. Tell me more.
well, I think it's fair to say at this point that some of the recent sort of communications from them and posturing suggest that they're trying to focus on some other areas like AI and so forth. I've seen recent posts from Mark Zuckerberg to that effect, But yeah, I mean, I don't really think what Horizon Worlds is what the metaverse needs to be. I don't think it needs to be this hyper controlled, hyper simple sort of thing. So we've kind of gone a different direction with Banter, and I think we're trying to appeal to people who, I guess, take themselves a little bit less seriously than that.
Okay. Okay. Well, we're looking forward to hear so much more of Banter and the SideQuest origin story and how now you are introducing this new app. Cool. Thank you, Shane Orla, for this first short talk. We're going to get back to you. But now I also would like to hear from you, Steve. So, Steve, how has your week been?
Yeah, it's been pretty exciting for many reasons. In fact, a lot of stuff I'm doing on the channel at the moment, well, prior to obviously getting the crystal, was related to motion rigs and things like that. Something a new avenue I've never tried before. So, and it's interesting how so many people are interested in that as a sort of the next step when in VR, because I guess it does make sense that, say, if you're in a race sim or flight sim, you want to feel that motion alongside the amazing visuals you see in VR. So yeah, it's been great understanding that more, and all that's on the channel. So yeah, it's, well, to be honest, I'd never fly without a motion rig now. It's that good of an experience.
Wow.
It's just amazing.
Sounds like I want one too.
Yeah, I remember.
You're too. You are out there somewhere. I want to speak with you.
Did you try the Yaw 2, Seb, in one of your videos a while ago?
At CES. It was incredible. So I definitely want one.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. It's just so good. Also, in terms of the Varia Aero, there's been a lot of updates to that headset recently, including the DFR update for DCS, which means you've got native dynamic favorited rendering, which brings it up to 90 frames per second all day long if you've got a decent GPU, which is just beautiful.
That is amazing.
In fact, it makes me kind of cry a little bit that we don't have that for MSFS yet, but it's great to see that technology is there and to see it working correctly. Finally, seeing a headset like the Aero really showcase what it can do. So that's cool. As obviously, the final thing is I've got the Pimax Crystal this week. It's been one hell of a roller coaster of emotions for me, and I will talk about that a bit later on. But yeah, it's been an amazing time on the channel and so much more stuff coming as well. So yeah, cool.
Great.
Was it the first time you tried Crystal now that you received it?
Sorry, Tetiana, I didn't quite hear that. It cut
Was
out.
it the first time? Was it the first time you tried Crystal now that you received it in your?
Yes, I've never tried it prior to say the roadshow and all that kind of thing. So it's my first experience.
Gotcha.
On the, I think it was like Tuesday this week. Sorry, so it's still quite fresh in my memory, and it was mixed feelings to start with. But
Tetiana, for you too?
Yeah, things have definitely changed for me. In fact, I've just posted a video of my thoughts about the headset, and we'll get into all that anyway later on. But, yeah.
Right,
I'm looking forward to this one, actually.
Tetiana, tell us about your week. How was it for you?
Oh yeah, I was just listening to Steve thinking like, if so many cool VR techs there, like Yo, Catwalk, see, with all that, if I wanted to have all that, I'd have to buy a bigger house just to have the room to
Yes.
store it all whenever I need it. But since I do work full time at Sidequest, Banter has been a very big part of my life for these past couple of weeks.
Oh, cool.
And we spent a lot of time there. We spent a lot of effort on like promoting it and leading up to a launch. And there's still so much to do because the app is like going to spinning even more and more people will be joining in. We'll be giving tours, so it's going to be really exciting. But of course, after hours, I do pack quite a lot of like hardware waiting to be reviewed. We talked about DPVR and Crystal, of course, are also here. I guess we will talk about that later. Yeah, I think that I've just played with this tech more than I actually played just VR for fun. Because many headsets are being released lately, and that is quite exciting to see this expanding field, both standalone and PC VR. So it's definitely kept me busy. But yeah. So that's essentially what I have been doing.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so for me, I also did quite a few things. So I had a look at the Big Screen Beyond, which is a very exciting headset. Like it was custom made for my face shape, micro OLED display, pancake lenses, super small, right? It's crazy how small this is compared to like a Pimax, for example.
Totally different. Completely.
I should do some A/B comparison
do that.
videos and pictures. It's wow, it's incredible. Yeah, that part. But then what was really like standing out a lot, actually here in Germany, something really amazing happened. So the metaverse is not dead yet, even though Mark Zuckerberg now looks for a new toy to play with. It's not dead yet. So here in Germany, we have a huge television broadcaster, one of the biggest, called ZDF. And they have shot a whole episode of their hit series, Doppelhaushälfte, it's called. It's about two neighbors living in Berlin, two families living in Berlin. They have shot a whole episode in the metaverse, in VR, with the actors actually wearing VR headsets, and everything happened in VR, actually in a Somnium space, a metaverse, right? And that premiered yesterday, so people can watch it now, can download it, and it's like 30 minutes really with live actors in the actual metaverse. So that has been incredible. And well, I'm so proud about it because, I consulted this TV company. I was there 5 days to do that shoot with those German superstar actors, putting them in VR, bringing them to those places in the metaverse. And we had 2 cameramen there in VR, obviously, everything, who filmed everything. And yeah, so cool. Please watch it. And it premiered yesterday. You can stream it. And yeah, it's pretty incredible what you can do now already. A whole TV show completely shot in a metaverse that people can go to now. So everyone can film a movie there, actually. Yeah, probably this could also happen in Banter, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. I'm looking forward to talk with you guys about that part. So yeah, I was excited about it. That was so cool. And it did make quite some waves in Germany.
It reminded me of, I think I've heard that there were some music videos shot in VR chat too, like kind of Japanese experimental stuff. And yeah, they just shot a music video. So isn't that kind of comparative?
Probably, but well, this was a whole episode. It's on the live German TV. It's great. It's pretty crazy. Yeah. Also, Snoop Dogg did something like this, but that was not really with him in VR, I believe. Probably that was animated. Yeah.
I remember there being something in VR chat that maybe made it onto one of the big streaming platforms like Netflix or Amazon Prime. Mm-hmm. I can't remember. It was called We Met in VR, but I can't remember which one it was on. But it was multiple episodes, an entire piece featuring life in the metaverse. Cool. So that's interesting. It's definitely interesting. It's more and more of this you're seeing as TV shows kind of engaging with avatars and all sorts.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the like X Factor kind of style shows are starting to experiment with this as well now. In fact, I think one of them wasn't there something American Idol came out with a piece that they did something in VR on that platform Altspace, but I think it released a day or two after they unfortunately shut the platform down.
Oh no, really? Okay, could be. Yeah. It's interesting because the show is a comedy show, and they wanted to make a piece about NFTs and the metaverse, and then they just thought, hey, why don't we just do the whole thing in the metaverse? And then they approached
Great.
me and asked me how it can be done, and yeah, then so it came to fruition, and it's a pretty funny episode. Yeah, and. Also, in the future, I agree with you, Shane. In the future, it will make sense to have more and more episodes just like this, right? Because it's going to be cheaper and faster, actually, right? You just have to, record what the actors are actually doing in VR, and then probably in the future, there's going to be face tracking and all this good stuff. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Yep. Other than that, I just came back from Berlin. I was at a very interesting event from Pico. They invited the German content creators in the VR space, and we heard, all interesting new things that they plan for the Pico platform. And I believe Banter is also going to be on Pico.
That's right.
Oh, cool. That is so cool. Nice. So yeah, lots of people that can check out your app. Yep. So that's for my week. Now, let's get into the exciting part, talking with Shane and Orla about lots of things. Let's first start with your origin story. So actually, you're from Ireland, now living in Spain. Yeah, good choice,
Nice.
I believe. Yeah, that's what the weather is concerned, and lots of other things, and food. So that is fantastic. But tell us, first of all, again, I would like to hear the origin story about Sidequest. So for all the people out there who have never heard of Sidequest, so Sidequest is actually an app store that has nothing to do with Facebook or Meta. So it started as something, completely, how would you call it? Like people wanted to put content on the Quest, but it was not so easy to do that. It was possible, but it was not really easy. So what you did, you invented Sidequest, which made it super easy, and basically it became this huge app store. Did I summarize that in the right way, Orla?
Yeah, it's a pretty good shot. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I got it right directly. Yeah. Okay. So how did this happen? How did this come to fruition, Shane?
Well, it's interesting. Originally, we were building a game at the time. I guess you could call it similar to Banter in that it was. I hate to use the term metaverse.
Yeah, me too, actually. So sorry when I said metaverse way too often already today.
Yeah, we've been calling it Banterverse internally just to avoid using the word.
That's better.
But yeah, I mean, back then we used to call it social VR, right? That was before the term got popularized. And we, it was our first game. We were pretty ambitious. We submitted it to Oculus. They knocked it down pretty early on.
Yeah, like for many other apps and games, by the way, right?
Yeah. But I think ours was probably just an easier decision to make, right? Because there was lots of other developers way more established than us that were also being rejected. And yeah, I mean, I guess at that point, you're kind of faced with two options. You either give up or you find another way. And yeah, we took a process called side loading and used it to let people put stuff on the Quest. So the name Sidequest kind of fit really well there. And yeah, it just sort of exploded into a content store overnight. We were interacting with a lot of other developers at the time. And as you say, a lot of developers were also being rejected from the store. And it just sort of exploded. And we launched 2 days after the first Oculus Quest launched.
Oh, perfect timing.
Yeah. Well, when we got
Good.
rejected, that was maybe in March, and then it was May when it actually released. So in those first 3 months, we just got the bones of Sidequest off the ground, so it was ready. And it's honestly just been a whirlwind since. It's been trying to hang on for dear life. The community has been in the driving seat on this one now for quite a while, and they've been active in telling us what it is they want and need from the device. And we've been trying to do our best to sort of open that up as much as we possibly can. And, most recently then working with Meta to try and make that even easier for people, whilst at the same time, working towards supporting developers as they grow across other devices, Pico, other standalone based devices specifically, but also PCVR.
Oh, even PCVR. That's interesting. So, Orla, I would like to understand more about how your relationship with Meta was in the beginning. So, were they happy that there is like a great app that can help people sideload apps to the Quest, or were they more like, oh no, we actually don't want that?
They were pretty supportive right from the
really?
beginning.
Okay, cool.
Very open in speaking with us. In fact, from as early as 2019, we were in conversations with Facebook, or they weren't Meta yet, right? But they were Facebook back then. And over the course of the 4 years that Sidequest has been in existence, we have regular check-ins, and that's really just to keep each other abreast of any changes that are coming up that might impact the other, and an opportunity for maybe we need to do something, or they need to do something, or something's broken that can get fixed. So, we've been advocates for the device. We've always supported the device. We've always
Totally.
supported their ecosystem. And, I think we've done them a huge favor, right?
Exactly.
Because
That's
really,
what I think.
the curation meant that there was so little content in the first year on Quest 1 that, I don't even know of 1 million units sold of that device. It just wasn't enough on it. But when Sidequest came along, it provided this other opportunity in between the very, long delays between big releases. You had time to fill the space in with all the amazing content that was coming to Sidequest. And one of the things that I'll say that was particularly special is just that the VR community is so enthusiastic, and they actually want to get involved in like the concepts. They want to get involved in the alphas, the betas. They want to play it first, but before it's even come to the store. And it's really amazing for Sidequest to be part of that journey and help and make those connections for developers with that awesome community. So that's been the driving force, I think, for us, like very community driven, very community spirited. So.
I think it's so cool that you said before that the community is in the driver's seat actually for Sidequest. That means something. That is, wow, that's crazy. So what I really found so fascinating in the beginning of the Quest time was I really wanted to use the Quest wirelessly for PCVR. And there's virtual desktop, right? And at one point in time, a virtual desktop was not allowed anymore in the Quest store, in the original Quest store. And then I was so happy to find out, yes, on Sidequest, it is like officially on Sidequest, right? And was that also like an important event for you, that people, want virtual desktop and found out that it works through Sidequest?
I think it was important for the community, right? Because at a time when
exactly right,
content was and continues to this day to be the biggest barrier to entry in VR, right? We need more content. We've always needed more content. And what Geek Godden did was he opened up a wealth of content to those that had the hardware. You could access everything that was already set up on Steam. And, at the time, that was a lot. That was a big deal. And, I don't think he got a good rap in the end. The timeline of events and how everything kind of went down. I remember just prior to him being accepted onto the main store, there was talk about, how you couldn't do this with Link and so forth at the time because Airlink didn't exist back then. And, Boz, CTO of Meta, recommended that people use virtual desktop if they wanted a wireless connection, and it seemed like things were going well, and that might, they might sort of turn their tide on, how they view that sort of thing. And then they allowed Guy to release on the store, but unfortunately released Airlink about 30 days later, which
is free. Yeah, free against $30. Okay.
Yeah. Now, I think Virtual Desktop offers a whole suite, a whole range of new features. I remember when I got to meet Guy in person at OC6, and we had a great chat about the State of the Union. And yeah, I've got all the respect for him in the world. You know, I think he's a hero out there. He's one of the many
Same.
indies who are just sort of propping up this whole thing and making sure that we get the absolute best. And I was really excited recently to see, and some people mentioned it in the chat, about his recent partnership with Qualcomm and yeah, leveraging kind of their super resolution technology with Virtual Desktop to be able to bring just even finer quality of streaming to any XR2 based headsets. So yeah, Guy, if you do see this, thumbs up from me. Really good job on that. Keep pushing forward. You know, there's going to be a number of headsets here that your technology is going to really, really be useful on. And also, just one last thing, he just announced he's releasing it on all the Vive standalone headsets too.
Oh yeah, wow, this is fantastic. Yeah, Guy does watch this show, so I'm sure that Guy is going to listen to that at one point in time. So also, best greetings here from me. Cool. So yeah, Orla, we have also just heard that you also want to support PC VR. So what is the long-term goal for Sidequest? Do you want to make it the app store for VR that would compete against like the many app stores from Pico, from Quest, or against Steam? What is your goal? Or do you want to become the OpenXR store? And that is what I hope.
I think we want to remain developer friendly and user friendly. You know, I think it's really important that users can protect their libraries, and I think it's really important that developers can have access to a wide range of devices. So it is our intent to remain platform agnostic and to support future devices where we can, and support developers on those devices and support users across those devices as well. As far as like the bigger plans, I think there's still a lot that remains to be seen before we can make some big decisions there. Obviously, we're all pretty excited about the Apple headset getting released. We want to see the impact that has, and you know, as you guys are aware, there's more headsets now entering the space that are standalone, but the traction maybe isn't just quite there yet with the community. So I think Sidequest's job is just going to remain present, try and help people get on those devices, use those devices to their maximum potential, and yeah, to really push Banter as well as a social space across those devices to connect the community, and yeah, keep listening and keep hearing what people want. And if that happens to be an open XR store of the future, then I guess who knows.
Yeah, that would be my suggestion. But yeah, you don't need it, obviously, right? But it sounds like great, because I know there's like, yeah, just like you said, lots of new headsets are coming, and they all have the problem. Hey, which store to put? Yeah, do I make my own now, or
I do
I don't
think
know,
it's
like
bizarre, isn't it?
do I work together with you?
I do think it's bizarre that at this early stage of VR, and we're so dry in terms of software, that we do need a standardized platform, and perhaps Sidequest can be that platform where everyone goes to. Don't have all these closed sort of platforms, which is just making everyone's life harder, whether you are a VR enthusiast, or even if you know you're as the CEO of Meta, it's affecting everyone. So it'd be great if Sidequest, if that is your plan, to bring in both PC VR gaming and, you know, standalone, and have that one store that everyone will just go to, and it will be it's already a household name anyway, isn't it? It's well respected. So to drive that forward even more is exciting, I think. And is that sort of one of your goals, like Seb said, is to sort of bring it to that point where everyone just uses the one store, and it is the Sidequest store. That's what we want, isn't it? For all headsets, that's what we want.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Steve. I mean, Sidequest has pretty much been platform agnostic from day one. You know, we've worked with every Android-based headset out there, you know, out of the box, let's say. Our tools, unmodified, work straight away And that's been great to see when people post screenshots of new or review units they've got their hands on, and they've posted a screenshot of the top left corner of Sidequest where it says the name of the headset, and it's all of a sudden working on ones that we haven't even got our hands on yet, right? So it's about making it as accessible as possible. But yeah, I mean, throughout the Sidequest store, it might not be as popular as the standalone content, but there is actually quite a bit of PC VR content in there already. We also cater to web VR content, big advocates for the open web. And yeah, I mean, there's some stuff on there that we think is so great, like Moonrider. I don't know if you've tried that or come across it. You don't need to install it. You can get straight in. And a lot of people find it to be just as fun as, any of the other rhythm games like Beat Saber or some of the others. And yeah, I mean, it's great to be able to kind of provide that one-stop shop that enables that on all the headsets. But a few months back, probably about 8 months ago now, we, for the first time, released our In VR Sidequest app, which you were able to use from within your Sidequest headset. But it's also a platform-agnostic app. It also runs inside Pico, and it just shows you all the Pico apps and lets you install those. And it's thankfully the same app that works on both, which is great. So yeah, I mean, we're actively pushing out in every direction, trying to make it easier to connect developers and users, and for us all to be able to celebrate this content while we can, while it's in its kind of infancy and incubation, while everything is real positive and has a great sentiment. Now is the time to really sort of dig in and make waves there.
Okay. There's one area that I've always thought could be utilized more, and that is, like, I don't understand, why is there not some sort of subscription service or something you can pay some money and then go watch a concert in VR, or like watch a football match in VR? I really thought that would take off, but it hasn't yet. I presume
Apple's going to bring it to us.
Well, yeah, this is kind of what I'm getting at really here. But could you guys, I guess you're, because I just associate you with gaming, but I guess you're not, are you? You're going to be bringing all manner of VR experiences, whether it is social, and all the other stuff. I can't really think of anything because I just use it for flight simming. But you know what I mean? Lots of different areas of VR into that
dark entertainment.
Yeah, I mean, typical. Yeah. Well, I guess typical gaming is fairly locked to, you sort of sit in a seat and you use a controller and that's it. But there's actually, there's lots of different things that VR can be applied to, and it's a lot more. I don't know, it feels like it fits a lot better than, let's say, some of the stuff we've tried to do in the past, But yeah, we get a lot of enterprise apps on Sidequest, a lot of training apps, a lot of fitness apps. These are the kind of verticals that just don't exist at all in traditional gaming.
But it would definitely be cool to see more of like the creative arts, right? Music and drama and whatever it might be. I think the issue is just the cost of technology at the moment for those guys to purchase that and then set it up to actually film. Is kind of, that's the barrier. So I don't think VR is the barrier, thankfully, on this occasion. It's like the production of it outside of that. But I mean, we've seen some cool stuff. Muse did an in VR, like a 360 VR music video. I don't know if you've seen that. There's definitely a few other people playing around with things, and I've heard just on the grapevine, there is a production company spinning up that is going to focus on VR concerts. So my fingers firmly crossed that we kind of get the experience that we're all looking for. That isn't even necessarily like avatar based. It's a bit more real world.
Like look at Glastonbury. It sold out within 3 seconds. And if you want to still experience it, you could do it in VR, and perhaps whoever gets there first in terms of getting it on their store or platform. Hopefully you get a cut of that as well. That would be great.
And we could still buy tickets to it, right? So there's Glastonbury can now maximize its sales. And
exactly, yes, good point. Yeah.
So
win-win, isn't it, really?
Maybe there'd be less muck or something.
Yes. And you won't have to go to the toilet as well in these horrible cubicles. So definitely win-win.
Yeah.
I'm sure we can simulate that just to make it feel real.
You still have to dance around in your glow sticks, though, right? You gotta go full tilt, and your welly boots.
Definitely.
Nice. I always had one question about Sidequest. And so, do you do any kind of content curation, or what is the process? If I have a cool app, a cool game, and I know I have no chance to put it on the Quest store, obviously, right? First, so how do I get it onto Sidequest? What is the process like?
Well, I mean, I'll say one thing. I think the strongest thing on SideQuest has been user-generated content and user-curated content, right? People rate and upvote and interact with and download and add to their wish list, and all of these different things kind of feed into our algorithms that push things to the top. And we have a staff picks list. That's basically our only area for us to kind of elevate and help. But I'm sure Orla's got some thoughts on that too.
Yeah, I mean, curation's a really tough one, right? When you submit, we have a team member, like a literal real person, who goes in, puts the game on their headset and tests it out just to make sure nothing crazy happens. And then it should normally be like a pretty quick approval process.
Okay.
Sometimes there's a few little technical struggles, or you go into a death spin as soon as you enter the app, and so you have to like advise that developer that it's not quite ready for release yet. But yeah, curation's a tricky one. The actual approval process isn't tricky, but the curation itself, making sure that new apps that are completely awesome get seen, is important to us, and that's why we have additional services like we roll out across social media posts, and we share videos, and we make reels about content, and that's all free for the developers. We just want to help elevate them as best as we can, and we now also have our amazing Sidequest program, courtesy of Tetiana. In which we have lots of influencers now who represent SideQuest. We can give them keys to games. They go out, they make videos as well, and they're also promoting those across socials. So, we really try and help elevate content that needs to be seen. And sometimes things might roll down the list that we wish were a bit higher, so we can kind of poke the devs a little bit and say, look, come and talk to us, because we can help you out with a few things, and let's get you up there, let's get you higher rankings, because I think you have something cool here. And so it's all about like interaction and talking and helping developers find their communities, and that goes beyond SideQuest, right? And that's kind of our goal.
I think you're doing a great job on getting to that goal. So again, congrats from us all, the community, to SideQuest. It's cool. But now, Yep. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I thought I would also ask a question.
Sorry. Of course, I want you to ask questions. Go on.
Since you have a platform right now, what would you say to all the new VR users who might be a little bit concerned about using Sidequest for the first time? Anything that has to do with side loading, enabling side loading, as we work here and we know some of the concerns that users may have. So since you do have a platform now, is there anything you would like to tell them?
I'll take that one, Orla, will I?
Sure, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think in 3 words, thank me later is probably what I'd say. Pull that trigger, get it done. If you're concerned, if you're worried, if you think it's going to be difficult, it's not. It's not as difficult as you think. It takes about 2 minutes to set up the first time. After that, it generally just works. As I said before, we've got this new app. You put it in your headset, and after that, you don't need another device. You don't need a PC. You don't need anything. The app updates itself. You can get all your stuff from within your headset. So that's obviously a lot better, a lot more immersive, not having to break out of your headset and go and top up on content from time to time. But yeah, SideQuest, it's where it's at. It's the largest VR content library in standalone. We get more apps released on SideQuest than you'll see released in Steam for VR, right? And that doesn't even include the hundreds of Gorilla Tag clones that we've got, right? So, I think, definitely pull that trigger is what I would say to any new VR user.
Yeah, exactly. Give it a try. SideQuestVR.com. All right. So now you are working on something new, and let's talk about Banter now, your new project. So let me just ask you, Shane, what is Banter and why? Why did you make it?
I guess I made Banter because we started out by surveying our users on SideQuest. We spoke to tens of thousands of our users, and we were surprised to actually learn that 70% of them engage with social VR based games. 50% engage with them daily. Now, I guess when you start to think about the fact that broad strokes, games like Gorilla Tag, believe it or not, are mostly about the social experience, it starts to kind of shape a picture that, you know, getting together in VR is obviously important for a lot of people. And a lot of people like to, you know, be with other people while they enjoy virtual reality rather than, you know, being on their own. And I think, you know, there's a number of problems, I guess, we are trying to address with Banter. You know, I feel like most VR, you know, multiplayer games out there, or, you know, sort of metaverse experiences, let's say, they
You said it. You said the M word.
I said it. My bad. They don't have legs, right? And this was a big deal. In fact, it was, you know, it was basically the entire topic at the last Facebook Connect was how people were apparently going to get legs. Well, we haven't seen legs yet. And what I thought was, well, Banter can give people legs, right? That's something that Banter should be
Giving
able to
legs
do.
to people since 2023. Banter.
There you go. But no, it's definitely different. Banter is a lot more different than most other social metaverses like VR Chat, like Rec Room, like Somnium Space even. I think what Banter does differently is that it introduces physics in a way that you might recognize from games like Boneworks or Bone Lab.
That is cool.
So,
I love that physics there.
yeah, exactly. So, you know, your character is physical. You can kind of interact with your physical world. You can climb on things. You can clamber up onto things. You can slide on slippery surfaces. You can zip line down things. And all of this is just built in, right? So it's not smoke and mirrors. It's just leveraging the physics to be able to come up with interesting ways to do things. And that's something that none of the other social apps have got is a physics-based character. And then I think it really sets Banter apart, right? Because I think it's probably one of the most requested features for Bone Lab or Boneworks is to be able to make it multiplayer. And we understand why they can't, right? It's a very serious undertaking to make such an impressive physics simulation, and it's really, really difficult to be able to introduce networking and social elements to that. But we basically said, you know what, we're not going to take it too seriously. We're going to bring in all the features. We're not going to care if it's a little bit janky around the edges. If we can have fun with it, then, you know, that's what's important to us. So yeah, that's what Banter is. You know, it's about sort of creating worlds and getting together with people and, you know, watching videos in VR and watching live streams and whatever it might be, you know, whatever you might expect you could typically do on other social platforms. And I think, you know, one other thing that we've tried to focus on is gamifying it as much as we can, right? Is enabling the creation of actual games that just make sense. And yeah, I implore anybody to go in and try out the Winter Sport Resort. It was made by our 3D artist, Aline.
Aline, so cool.
Yeah, Aline is... Aline is a little bit infamous. Aline would be responsible for most of the custom homes that you would see on Quest, right? So that's a pretty big deal. She and her partner, Vince, have also been basically running the entire custom homes community. So if you're not familiar with custom homes, it's one of the things you can get on Sidequest, where you can change your home environment to a range of different you know, options that are available there. And there's some beautiful things to explore, and many of which we've actually brought into Banter as well, right? Because one thing you can't do is explore them with friends, but now you can do that on Banter too.
Oh, that is nice. So
awesome.
That's really cool. It's I want to try it. I will try it very soon. This physicality, yeah, that is absolutely missing in the other social VR metaverses. I said it again, man. Yeah, right.
Say, so like, I have no idea about this. I've just joined this podcast and I'm hearing this for the first time.
Cool, yeah, perfect.
And that excites me. And I'm not much of a social VR kind of person, but the way that it sounds like you can create new worlds and have fun, yeah, I like that idea. That seems like the next step in terms of being social in VR is having that, I don't know, that sort of control and freedom to be able to do different things whilst you're socializing. That makes sense. So yeah, sounds cool.
And some of these worlds are really enormous, like what Shane said. Ellen created Winter Sports Resort, which is probably the largest world currently in Banter, and it has so many hidden secrets in there too. We often host some like guided tours in Banter just to introduce people in, especially now that it's new. And Winter Sports Resort is always the first world we go to, because I always tell them, okay, I want to show you everything that's in here, because I don't even think you realize how much is hidden. So I want to make sure you'll see it all. So this is just one of the worlds that's out there, and she's working on many more, and other creators are adding more worlds in there. There's just so many so many directions that you can go, making those little climbing mini games or social games, and it's all kind of adding these little things you can do with your friends, and at the same time you can still talk to each other. Those little experiences do not take away from the socialization aspect, and that's really important. I don't think we talked about avatars, did we?
That would actually have been my next question. So I wanted to ask Orla, what happens? I'm going to download it very soon to my Quest 2 or Quest Pro, and I'm going to install it. So what happens when I open it for the first time? What do I see? Do I have to choose an avatar? Do I make my own? In which world will I be? Yeah, what is the onboarding process? Because I believe that is kind of important, right? To make it easy and fun, and yeah. So how does it work in Banter?
So we've actually partnered with Ready Player Me, who we know have just an amazing range of avatars and continue to expand what they're doing on that side of things. So it's the perfect partner for us. And essentially, if you have a Sidequest account already, you can go in and create an avatar using Ready Player Me. And when you log into Banter for the first time, you can basically just go into the settings and connect to your Sidequest avatar, and it'll pull that avatar right through. You can also create your avatar from within Banter. Just by going into the settings as well, and then you can play around with things, so you can create it in VR as well. And yeah, it's pretty exciting, because obviously Ready Player Me have really pushed the limits of what we can do with avatars. And yeah, we had a pretty exciting chat with them last week, and there's really a lot more cool stuff to come in terms of that partnership, and we're excited to keep pushing that forward as well.
Yeah, and Sarge from Ready Player Me, I think, is in the chat. So
Cool.
shout out to Sarge if he's there. Say hello. But yeah, I mean, I think it's really exciting. When we spoke to them last week, yeah, there's the Sidequest logo up front and center with the rest of their partners. Thanks for that, guys. We spoke to them last week, about being able to add customized avatars and seeing how we could expand, both within Banter and across other platforms that also leverage Ready Player Me. We've already got some Sidequest custom avatars. You can get the Sidequest hoodies in there.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah,
which is great. They're very popular. Oh, there's Sarge.
These
Good
ones.
to see you.
hello there. Okay, so yeah, Ready Player Me is absolutely cool. I needed an avatar also for some other things, and I just uploaded my picture, my photograph, right? And then boom, there it was. Within like a few seconds, I had my perfect 3D model, which I then used, yeah, in different kind of metaverses, right? Neos and Somnium Space, and yeah, now also Banter. It's great. So it's great that you're working together with them, and it's so easy to make that avatar. Nice.
And in terms of onboarding, I guess, like, the short way would be if you put on the headset, you start the game. The first thing you will see is this nice, I guess, intro lobby that has a couple of elements there that you can interact with. It's really great that they are there, because they showcase this physicality of the game that's very unique for Banter. So, for example, there's a bridge that you can jump on, and it's going to kind of bounce with you. There's a rope that you can climb, and it's going to move with you, and you can swing it. So it's hard to explain, but when you feel it in VR, you understand how this physics works, how you interact with the world, and how the world interacts with you. So it just has a couple of those demo elements. and a couple of portals where you can go and like jump straight in and explore what we've got there.
Nice. Very nice. We got a question from Norman. Thanks for the super chat. That's a great question, actually. Will Banter have support for AI-associated NPCs, providing an environment for fluent conversation with memory, with AI, I guess? Do you plan something like this?
Yeah, if my CTO has his way, then absolutely. He'd
Okay.
like to get ChatGPT connected in there as soon as possible and try and make it so that you
Oh
can
God.
converse with them. So
It makes so much
yeah, I
sense.
mean,
Yeah.
there's obviously a lot of hype around AI at the minute, and God knows I'm convinced. I'm using it to help me code, to help me do a lot of different things, and a
Same
lot of my
here,
team
actually.
are using it too now, and I think it's definitely really interesting. And yeah, I'd love to be able to do that, right? If nothing else, then just to be able to interrogate it and to be able to kind of poke it and prod it and see what it does and see how long it takes before it goes way past the Turing test and convinces you that it's actually 100% real life sentient. But yeah, I think we'd love to experiment with something like that for sure.
That would be cool.
There's already so many, like there are some worlds I believe that all the textures in those worlds are AI generated.
That's right.
There are like pictures on walls that are generated with the Midjourney. And actually, I just read an article this morning that there was a modder who created a mod for Skyrim VR that puts in NPCs that are powered by ChatGPT. So it's happening so fast. People only
Incredible.
thought about it, and there was already someone who already made it happen. So yeah, it's gonna be here sooner than you think.
Nice. That's going to be very exciting indeed. So let's talk more about the worlds. So when you go into Banter, you've just mentioned you are in this first world where you can check out the physicality. That is interesting. But then how would you go to a different world? Do you have some kind of menu, and how does it work? How do you move to other worlds in Banter?
Sure. Yeah, well, there's a couple of different ways. So there's kind of 4 or 5 featured inside this lobby space. If you want to just jump right in, you can do that. But other than that, you hit your menu button on the controller and it brings up the menu where you can access worlds, friends, messaging, change your avatar and change other settings related to yourself. So if you want, you can check out the featured worlds, you can go through your favorites list, you can see a full list of all the worlds you've recently visited. Banter kind of works a little bit like a browser that way, but you've also got your friends list. So if your friends are online, you can join their worlds, jump in and see what they're up to, or invite them to your world. So lots of ways to discover what's going on and where's the coolest place to hit up.
Nice. So how does the friend system work? Let's say I go to some world. I'm new. Yeah, I'm a newbie. MRTV Sebastian's going there, and I'm going to check out this this winter world. It looks nice. I like winter sports. So and then I see some people there who are playing there or something, and I talk with them. So can I directly make them my friends? Like point at them, and then how is there a way to add them directly, or how would that making friends work?
Yeah, it's literally that. You point at them, you click on them, pop up,
Friend.
and then you can add friend, and then they can choose to accept that on their end as well. We're actually the social system that's built into Banter actually leverages the APIs that Sidequest provides. So it's actually the same friend system on there. So if you add and remove friends on Sidequest, they'll also be your friends in Banter. It's something that we're testing out, and in the future we may even open that up to other developers to be able to leverage the Sidequest user base to be able to work in their apps too.
Okay, cool. And how do I communicate with them? So obviously, when they are there, I can just talk to them, right? That makes sense. But let's say they are offline. Can I send them a chat message, or can I record a voice note? That is what I really like about Neos, for example, this ability to record voice notes.
We don't have voice notes yet, but messaging is something that's a high priority. It's also
Okay.
something that we
Yeah.
have built into Sidequest, and that we've
Uh-huh.
sort of started testing in Banter as a potential future feature that developers can leverage from Sidequest as well. So right now it's text messaging. So yeah, absolutely, you will be able to message people offline. They'll get those messages in their Sidequest messaging as well as in Banter. You know, they'll be able to reply from Sidequest offline, in VR, out of VR, wherever it is. It won't matter. But
Oh,
voice messages, that's an interesting thought. That's
I
one
love
I think
that.
it's
In
it's a
VR,
popular
it's so
feature of
easy.
WhatsApp too.
Yeah, exactly. I'm doing this also in WhatsApp all the time, just doing voice messages because I don't like to type too much. So
I do
especially
that
in
more
VR,
now.
you should do it. In my opinion, that's my suggestion. Yeah. So yeah,
Typing
Steve, I'm
is
sending you these
painful.
voice messages all
I
the
know,
time.
honestly,
So,
I do that
WhatsApp.
all the time. I'm so lazy. I'd rather just send a quick 30-second message of my thoughts
Yeah.
rather than typing. It's terrible how we're getting this lazy, really. But you know, it's technology for you, isn't it?
But it's cool. Yeah. It would be great if you could introduce that. So it seems like your app, like Banter, is very easy to approach. You know, like I love Neos for PC VR, but it's not so easy to get into it. You know, it's like there's quite a learning curve to it. When you got it, oh, it's like metaverse. It's like it's amazing, right? But if your Banter is more approachable, I believe that is great to put the hurdle lower. So, yeah, right?
Yeah, well, I
Is it
mean, I
like
think
this?
one thing we have, which you don't see with a lot of other platforms, is that you're not forced immediately into a sign up, right? You can jump in as a guest.
Oh, that's
You can
cool.
have a play with the platform. You can see
Yeah.
what it's like, and then later decide, okay, I'm gonna commit to this, and maybe I'll create an account, or
Nice.
you link my SideQuest account that I probably already have. So yeah, it's definitely about making it easy. People can just launch the app. It's very fast to load. You'll basically be straight into the lobby within seconds. And we've really optimized things so that when you're moving between spaces and stuff like that, you're not stuck in a void for too long, right? So it's very snappy, very responsive when you're loading, and I think that's really important for new people coming in.
Cool. So, how do you create new worlds? In your trailer, I just saw create new worlds together. That's cool, but how does it actually the world creation works? Like, I have a great idea. I'm going to recreate the MRTV headquarter in VR now. How do I go about it?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's actually already quite a few different options depending on your background, your skill set, what you like to do. We use there's a very simple system you can use called A-Frame, if you've ever heard of that. It uses basic HTML to let you build worlds. It's something that I think even young kids could get on board with in terms of being able to have stuff up and running very quickly with. But we also allow creating worlds with Unity, which allows for much more professional and high quality content. So most of the worlds that you'll see in there at the minute that probably use both of those technologies in some way. We use Unity often for large portions of static scenes and so forth, and then we use A-Frame to actually layer in some functionality on top of that, and that's part of how we enable game creation. But yeah, if you've created something in another platform like VR Chat or I guess a few others, there's a good likelihood you're going to be able to get that into Banter pretty easily.
Cool. Yeah, so if I want to do that, how do I upload it to Banter? Let's say I already have that Unity scene that I think is amazing. So how would that work?
So there's a few different ways. We can host it for you, or you can host it yourself.
Oh,
Because
really?
believe it or not,
Cool.
that's another feature
That's
that I kind of
cool.
like about Neos, right? You can actually host it yourself. Every space in Banter is a URL. It's a web page. I mentioned before, Banter is kind of
Cool.
like a browser that way, right? So it actually means, yeah, you can host your own space on your own website in your own country on your own servers, whatever you want to do. And yeah, I think we're really excited about that. We're kind of featuring and working to sort of highlight as much content as we can, but Banter will always be an open system. If somebody wants to open up and go
that
to a
is cool.
URL that they want to, we're not going to stop them from. We're not going to prevent that in any way. So yeah, there's a lot of sort of tight coupling with web technologies, which which I'm really excited about how that's going to make discovery for worlds hopefully a lot easier.
Well,
Is-
sorry. Go
Sorry,
ahead,
go-
Steve.
So, no, I was just thinking, is there any sort of policies or protocols that you have to put in place for policing purposes? Because obviously these new worlds are going to be full of people, and anything could happen when people meet together. I presume, is there some sort of control or restriction or those sort of measures that you have to think about? Because that's a tricky one, isn't it, really?
It is. It's a very tricky one, and how you deal with that is going to be an evolving kind of learning process for us, as it is for everybody, really. But yeah, I mean, there's all the standard features you might expect to be able to mute and block other people around you who are kind of affecting your experience. Then people who create spaces have more power than that. They can kick and ban people from spaces, right? So it goes a bit further. Even mute somebody for everybody in the room, so you can stop people from being disruptive when they are being. We don't have anything that records the last 60 seconds of your experience just yet, right?
Good.
But we have standard user reporting and that kind of stuff. I mean, I think for the most part, like I say, this is going to be a learning process, but relying on users to self-moderate in the immediate sense, and then working with content creators, allowing them to kind of promote moderators within their space, and allowing, much like it works in many other communities like Discord, Reddit, wherever else, the community comes in, even in the chats here on YouTube as well. The community comes in, moderators come in, they help to kind of keep things clean, keep things tidy, and for the most part, then everybody gets to have a good time.
That is cool. That's really great. Yeah, I'm intrigued by the ability to host your own worlds. That was new to me. That is really a fantastic idea. It sounds a bit to me like you're trying to provide like the WordPress for the metaverse. Sorry to say it again. Is it something like this where you want people to allow them to host their own like websites, but in VR? I mean, like the WordPress kind of business model?
I mean, to some degree, I guess WordPress provides you with the website software to run your website necessarily.
Exactly.
Banter is probably closer to the browser that you open that website in, if you know what I mean, right? So you could use WordPress to build a space for Banter, technically, because it's just online. It's just another website, really. So yeah, I mean, I think if I was to assign it to one piece of technology in the whole sort of open web chain, it would be the browser part for sure.
Okay. So what is your business model?
Well, right now, focusing on sort of revenue generation isn't a priority for us. It's more about trying to get people in the door and then trying to set up the proper channels to get feedback from them in terms of what we should or shouldn't do. I mean, there's obviously going to be tons of opportunities, I think, to be able to create monetized experiences, and we want to be able to enable creators to do that too. And I think because we're built on top of web technologies, there's a lot of existing workflows that we can kind of lean on there. Now, as it stands right now, we don't have any plans to integrate NFT or any kind of blockchain technology at all. And don't get me wrong, I think those are great technologies. I just think that the current state of the union, let's say, in terms of where we are with the tech industry and with crypto overall, that it's a bit too risky right now to be able to kind of couple our game to that while things are kind of in the place that they are, let's say. But things are open, right? So others can potentially do that themselves. They can build their own gamified experiences that are powered by dynamic content from the web. It can literally load whatever you want into Banter in real time in front of you and everybody else. So yeah, being able to use things like PayPal and Amazon and stuff like that to be able to Patreon and whatever else to be able to provide more content to users on Banter. And I'm talking about creators being able to use those tools. That's definitely something I'm interested in. But right now, it's just about trying to get people involved, trying to get as much feedback as we can.
Makes sense. You're really early, and yeah, it's a good idea to just see how everything goes and how people enjoy it.
Also, if comparing it to Horizon World, which is still, I believe, only available in the US. Like,
I've
I don't
never been able
right.
to try it. I wanted to, but I have no chance whatsoever in Germany. Not even, I have no chance.
Yeah, I think there was a question in the chat about how accessible Banter is across different countries. I believe I don't think there are any restrictions based in the country, are there?
No restrictions at all. Obviously, we want to try and target as many people as we can. Banter is available on App Lab right now. We're aiming to get it onto Pico as well, and we'll likely
brilliant.
just host a build ourselves, that people can just download and use. We're leveraging OpenXR. We're trying to avoid any platform tie-ins if we can, so that it's easy just to make Banter work in as many places as possible. I mean, I'll be honest, this isn't... we're not on any kind of mission really there beyond the usual mission, which is, Sidequest itself is very interested in OpenXR and technologies that make it easier for developers. So Banter serves as a real nice way for us to practice using that technology ourselves too.
Okay, nice. Yeah, we have one more question from Norman. How will Banter verify user identity in the future? Any official retina scan? Device
Wow.
MAC address?
Maybe at some point.
Who knows? Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what
really
those glasses
interesting.
are. Yeah, that's what those sunglasses are doing right now.
Yeah.
It's your prototype
Testing,
headset.
You thought they were your regular ones.
It's really interesting you say that, right? Because I mean, one thing that we're concerned about with Banter is that I guess we want Banter to be available for everybody. We don't necessarily want it to be overrun by a certain subgroup of people. We don't want it to be overrun by a certain age group, let's say. And I think, being able to find ways to provide people a safe haven where they can sort of hang out with people that they like and do that kind of stuff, but still benefit from discovery, right? So they don't have to kind of lock themselves away in private worlds with friends only, that maybe there could potentially be, let's say, some adult spaces in the future. And in order to do that effectively, we might have to explore ways to be able to properly verify that. As it stands, we have no retinal verification, none of that at all.
You're right.
Like I say, you can jump in as a guest and just get stuck in without having to kind of commit to anything. And I think, right now, in this early stage for us, a lot of those problems are kind of on the road ahead of us, and we're well aware of them and definitely keeping an eye on them. But at this stage, there's some bigger priorities of just trying to reach as many people as we can and try to get as many people excited about Banter as possible, right? And it's a VR first app. We're definitely going to focus on VR. We might have a PC 2D mode, but it will be intended sort of for spectator mode only, or for potentially recording for like streaming and whatever else. But yeah, I mean, we're definitely VR focused, and that's going to be something that's going to continue. In fact, what we're planning to do is to run a number of giveaways, right? To actually give away VR headsets, get people, drag people kicking and screaming, whether they like it or not, into
like
Banter, and get them
You should
to
do that on
sort of enjoy
MRTV.
it. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, we just started a giveaway, in fact, for a pair of Quest Pro controllers, right?
Okay, yeah. Talk about it, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So something we're trying with Banter and hopefully with some other games as well is to try to introduce some Easter eggs, some ways to actually find and win prizes while you're playing the games, while you're actually in there and enjoying them. So right now in Banter, somewhere in Banter, there is a little button you can click. When you click on it, it's going to show you a web address, and that address is going to take you to a hidden exclusive giveaway on the Sidequest website for some Quest Pro controllers. So this one's actually an easy one to find. So I definitely encourage you to get straight in there. And you can win some prizes and maybe hang out and enjoy Banter while you're there too. But yeah, we're going to keep that regular. There's going to be tons of prizes we're going to give away. Everything from Sidequest merch, Banter merch, Quest 2s, maybe Pico 4s. Quest Pro controllers, free games, and loads of accessories and stuff like that. The sort of stuff we've been doing all along on Sidequest. We're going to start exploring how we can leverage that in the games as well to really sort of drive people in and to drive engagement in that VR content.
Wow, That is, I love the idea. I love the idea that you have to go into this place and find something. It's really just like Ready Player One, right? Where you go
Right.
into that place. I don't want to say metaverse. That's why I said that place. Into that place with VR and look for it.
Banterverse. Say
Yeah,
Banterverse.
the Banterverse. You go into the Banterverse and you look for these prizes. That is truly cool. Great idea. I still have one more question before we slowly let you go back to your life in Spain. I also want to go there. So, what do you think? How fast will integration of eye tracking and face tracking find its way into
Yeah, that's a good one.
Banter? Because there's a Quest Pro, right? Some people have it, a few, and hopefully in some future generations, it's going to be more standard. So, what do you think? Is it going to come to Banter, or is it too complicated for the frame rate to make that happen? Because there's more stuff involved, right? To talk a bit more about face tracking and eye tracking.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think it's very complicated. No, certainly not. Most games will already leverage some kind of eye animation in place of eye tracking, and that would probably be in and around the same overhead, maybe. Usually they've got mouth movement or visemes, as they call them, which from just you speaking, from the sound of your voice, they can determine how your mouth should be shaped. So I think both of those things can probably work pretty well. I think your point around adoption is probably key there, and I think a lot of developers are probably kind of thinking the same. I mean, we've seen a whole lot of VR accessories and products come out over the last sort of 10 years, let's say. And I guess it's important to understand how much longevity some of these things are going to have, right? But I think with something like Quest 2, it really standardized hand tracking, and now that's kind of set the tone that others are going to be aiming for that at a bare minimum as well. And I think, at least I'm hoping, maybe with Quest 3, we might see an accessible headset that can really drive sales and can maybe hero another feature like that, eye tracking and face tracking. Even if it was available as an add-on module or as an additional cost for an upgraded version of the headset, as long as it's not too much, right? As long as it's not too expensive. What I really get excited about is, the kind of consumer average priced VR headsets that we really want to see. I think we have seen a lot of headsets come out lately. Some of them have been fairly overpriced, and I think it's difficult, right? Because, like you say, not a huge number of people are going to buy those, and that's not good for those who develop the headsets, who've invested all that time and energy, and it's not good for the overarching industry then as well. So I'm really excited about a new headset that could be accessible but could also include eye tracking and face tracking, and I think Banter and many others would be excited to jump on board. I did notice recently VR Chat just announced that they were going to do it, and that's exciting, right? Because it takes stuff like that to maybe drive adoption. I don't know how many Vive trackers have been bought just because of VR Chat, but it could be that they may sell some Quest Pro headsets too.
Agreed. Yeah, cool. Honestly, for me, I can't wait now to try it out myself. The physicality in VR in the metaverse, that must be fantastic, because I loved it. In some of the games that you talked about before. So yeah.
In the coming, I guess weeks, there will be updates coming up a lot, and things are changing very fast. So I think it's important, if you're interested in stuff like that, to just follow what's happening, so that you're always aware of what's new and what's improved. So we will be sharing all the news on our social pages and our Twitter pages. Go ahead and follow if you haven't yet. But I think more importantly is I encourage everyone to join the Banter Discord, and I shared it in the chat. I don't know if it showed up.
We can also put it into the description of this video.
Yeah, sure. We probably will add the link to our Sidequest, Banter game listing as well, just so that everybody can find it very easily. But yeah, we are all there. All our Sidequest team is there. Huge following already. I think we have almost 1,000 people there already, both users and world builders. all kinds of updates, all the giveaway announcements are all there, so you're not gonna miss it. It's going to be getting busier, so this is definitely a great place.
Also, after this podcast, hopefully it's going to get busier. I will be there now. Check it out.
993 members, so 7 more and we'll hit that 1,000. So I encourage all of you to
Yay,
give it a
okay.
shot and try.
Okay. So you'll definitely make this happen tonight. Come on, guys. Go there. Go to Sidequest or go to App Lab. Look for Banter and simply try it out. Right? It's free. It's cool as far as this conversation goes. I want to check it out myself as soon as possible. So Banter.
Is it possible?
Yep, sorry.
Is it possible to do a podcast? Could we do it like next time we do a podcast? Could we do it in Banter? That would be really cool. Would that be possible yet?
Yeah, it is possible. We could probably hook you up with our experimental 2D client, which would give you like a camera spectator in the world. So then you could jump in on your headsets, and the 2D client could be recorded via OBS or whatever you prefer to do. So yeah, that would totally be possible.
Yeah, we should try that.
We could experiment with different worlds too. Like, for example, have you ever seen a podcast being held in zero gravity?
No, that would be hilarious.
And
there you go.
Interesting. Yes.
Or under the sea, where all the host members are fish.
Yes.
That is a good idea. Yeah.
I love that idea.
There's all kinds of crazy stuff there.
We should definitely look into that. Cool. So yeah, thank you so much, Shane and Orla. Probably some famous last words of you that you want to tell the community now.
Go ahead, Orla.
I just want to say thanks to the community. I mean, we're coming up on our 4th birthday next month. And it's incredible to think Sidequest has been around for 4 years, but it wouldn't be here if we didn't have that support. So I just want to say, thanks for sticking with us.
And Shane?
Yeah, that's in a nutshell pretty much what I wanted to say too. You know, I mean, it's been amazing, and like I said, we've been just sort of hanging on for dear life as the community really drives this forward, and we're just humbled and proud to be able to continue to run it. And for us, it's all about developers. That's kind of core to everything we do. We're developers ourselves, and we think that is the source of the successful sort of growth of this entire industry is really helping developers, helping them to produce content as much as we possibly can. So one final note I'll leave you on, which is one we'll give for you. This is previously unannounced, let's say.
Cool. But, exclusive stuff here on MRTV.
Exclusive. Yeah, absolutely. We're very soon, in fact, we're working towards kind of putting our money where our mouth is in that regard. And we're working with some partners. We're looking to put together a fund of potentially up to $1 million for us to be able to actually give developers the cash that they need to be able to see this through to the end, right? So I think it's important. I think it's needed, it's necessary, and we're really happy to be in a position to do it.
Wow, that is amazing. You heard it here first, a $1 million fund for developers to do all the good stuff. That's fantastic. Wow, thank you so much, Shane and Orla, for telling us about Sidequest and for, of course, telling us about Banter and giving Banter to the VR community. Thank you so much for that.
Thanks for having us.
And
I'll just be in there.
Yeah, I'll be there. Look out for me. And it was a pleasure to get to know both of you. It was about time that I finally get to meet you.
Absolutely.
So looking forward to see you next time.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
Wow,
I wanted to say thank you to them. They're probably still watching this now, and maybe Tetiana can say this, but thank you to Sidequest for saving my Quest 2, because when I first got it, after about 2 weeks, I had this issue with it that I could not switch it on at all. It was just completely dead. And Sidequest, I was able to plug it into that and sort of reset the firmware, whatever I did with it. I can't remember what it was now.
Oh my
God.
God.
It brought it back to life again. So because of Sidequest, I was able to get into the innards of the settings where you couldn't do that normally.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
So for things like that as well, it's really useful.
It's
So thanks for that.
amazing how Sidequest is able to like literally clean up the mess that
Yes.
Meta leaves by adding some kind of updates that are not ruining certain things. Wi-Fi is not working, apps are getting stuck, updating or installing, and there's just so many little things like that
Oh, hugely,
just
yeah.
connected to Sidequest, and there's a couple of things that you can just tweak, and it fixes your headset. It's crazy, but yeah, it's there for whatever you need it.
Great. And I must honestly tell you, I'm excited also about Banter because having this social VR place accessible in a standalone headset, I believe it's important. So we have really amazing stuff on PC VR, right? Somnium Space, I just did this with them, this amazing TV show. Neos is amazing. But, PC VR is declining. It is a fact, right? PC VR is
Mhm.
declining, and standalone is the future of VR. That's what more and more perspires, and that's why it's good to have something like this in standalone. So
Right.
let us all try it out.
Definitely, yes. It definitely makes it stand out that it is fully optimized for standalone and not just being a quick port where half of the features aren't really working or not displaying the same way as they should, compared to PCVR. So yeah, this is just it's a great new space that, if you look at our, the way that we market it and how we position it, we are really not taking ourselves seriously at all. I mean, literally the mascot of the headset is a big snowman with the avatar of Shane being thrown out of his butthole.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds like fun.
I'm surprised we didn't get to talk about it, but it is one of the like inside jokes, because when you get to the winter sport resort, if you go through the correct slide in that resort, you will end up jumping
Okay.
out of the snowman's butt, and
That's what I always
you'll
wanted
have
to
to.
do.
Exactly, that's what everybody wanted
Yeah,
to do.
yeah,
So
okay, I
we
get
just
it. Now
we just have to
I have
experience.
to try that out now. I mean, later after the show. Cool, cool, perfect. That was amazing. And again, thanks, Shane and Orla, for being here on the show. But now let's talk about other exciting things, hardware. So let's start with the DPVR E4, Tetiana. You and me, we had it. We have it. I still have it here, right? It's not far away.
It's right there.
Today, it's not under the table.
Oh, it's right there
Today,
for
no.
me.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
we
good,
just
good.
change the camera. You can see it.
Yeah, right.
That one. That one.
Right. So for all the people who don't know yet about the DPVR E4, it is a PCVR wired headset. Wow, and it's not standalone. It's totally not what everyone is having here right now. It is an old school PCVR display port standalone headset. Costs $549. Is available in the States and everywhere basically. You can get it from their website, and you can also get it from Amazon.com right now, and soon also Amazon's in Europe. And yeah, it has the Quest 2 screen, the Quest 2 display. It has Fresnel lenses, quite big ones actually. It's very light because you don't need batteries. It has this flip-up display.
Mm.
It has inside-out tracking with 4 cameras, standard controllers that remind me of the Quest 2 or any other of these Oculus copies, right? So yeah, right, and yeah,
And it has a display port. So
display port,
unlike
very
Quest
important. Many
2,
people
it
love display port.
yes, I think that is, it just looks so similar to Quest in its size and its shape. I mean, I compared it just visually,
Uh-huh.
pretty much the same size as Quest 2, maybe a little bit more narrow, but the uncompressed image definitely makes all the difference. So
Oh yeah,
if it's the PC VR experiences that you're looking for, it's definitely a better quality. But I don't know. For me personally, why I love this headset, and I didn't expect to because
me
it's just,
neither.
one PC VR headset, one of the many, I guess. I have never had an easier time connected and jump straight in.
Huh?
It's a record time of just plug it in. Everything worked, everything got connected, no complicated setup steps. the kind of a quick guide is just boom, boom, boom. Controllers
well
will
done.
appear instantly.
IPD,
IPD,
setting.
the same room setup as Quest, like in headset. You set up your walls, you set up your garden, you set up your floor. Very similar to the way it works in Quest, which is smooth as butter. And I've tried several games. I've tried them for a lengthy time. I had no issues with that whatsoever in terms of like performance or tracking or just some unexpected jitters that sometimes happen based on the like hardware compatibility with your PC or games. I'm always a little bit concerned with PC VR. I started my VR journey with standalone Quest, so there's always something when it comes to PC VR, so it seems. And so far, it's just been such a smooth experience. So I crowned it the best intro level PC VR for people who have never tried it.
Okay, cool. That is cool. I must say I have not watched your video yet. Sorry, Tetiana. So it's great to hear about it.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.
I'll tell you what, you wouldn't have watched my video
I wanted to hear it directly from you. That's why I want to hear it live from you. So it's great now to hear that you liked it actually.
Yeah, not everything was. I mean, it's still worth watching it because
let's talk
there
about
are
the
still
pros
things.
and cons. Same here for me. Again, we will talk about the cons as well. Yeah, but
Still
also
worthy watching that video. Just saying.
Right. So yeah, the same for me. I was surprised because I did have that. They did send me like a prototype unit like 4 months ago. Oh, and I really didn't like it. Like really, no, because at that time the software was so bad. Like the firmware was not good enough. It was not stable at all. The tracking of the headset was junk at that point in time. So therefore, I couldn't use it. It had delays. It was really bad. So I didn't expect a lot. Honestly, they sent it to me, and I was not very keen on trying it. Honestly speaking, that is the funny thing. Like normally, I'm really keen on any headset that those companies send to me, but I was not keen to try it out. But I did, of course, right? And because I'm fair, obviously, they told me, hey, we have updated the firmware and the software is now the production one. And this is the final unit. So, of course, I tried it. And then, boom, I was so positively surprised. It was a really good experience. So they have fixed the issues with the tracking. The controllers are really nice. The headset tracking is stable. But still, there's a few kinks we're going to talk about. There's still some stability issues that I found, but you don't feel them in the game, So yeah, and then the visuals are really good, just like Quest 2, but way better, right? Like sharper,
better.
yeah, of course. I mean, Quest 2 when you connect it to the PC, obviously, right? But still even better because the image does not have to be compressed first. Yeah. It is the pure DisplayPort goodness that us PC VR fans love, and you have it on a bright screen. And there was a thing that really delighted me even. That's cool. So it has a really nice FOV. The FOV is really big. Not as big as Pimax, of course, but it's bigger than Quest 2.
About Pico 4. Was it bigger than that?
Around Pico 4, PC, PlayStation VR 2, something like this. And it has the perfect binocular overlap. I would say it's nearly 100%. It's incredible. Like it makes you feel so relaxed. And it has 120 hertz, and this 3D effect is fantastic because both eyes see everything at the same time. And you really don't have that a lot of times with VR headsets. Like the Quest Pro is terrible with binocular overlap, and that's actually why I don't like it so much now that I've used it longer. But this gives you like nearly 100% binocular overlap. So for me, I even crowned it until now as my surprise headset of 2023 until now. It is crazy, and it's super comfortable as well.
I brought it here just to show people that might just join in later. So this is DPVR E4, the new PC VR headset that's extremely light, has this cool thing going on.
Oh, I like that.
And
That's
both
cool.
Sebastian and I are quite impressed by that.
Yeah, and honestly, I was using that flip mechanism. I was using that quite
Mhm.
often, and it worked so well. The thing is, like, there were other headsets before with flip mechanisms, like the HTC. I forgot the name. It was BAT one. HTC. Wow. They also had one. What's the name?
What was that?
Cosmos. The HTC
Cosmos?
HTC Vive Cosmos. It also had this kind of like flip up mechanism, but the
Mhm.
problem was it didn't put the headset close enough to your eyes anymore, so you would lose FOV. But for
Yeah.
this one, even though it has this flip up mechanism, it puts the headset right back. It somehow yeah just gives you a very nice FOV. Wow,
Yeah,
I was surprised.
the only thing with this flip up design, well, two things really. I do talk about them both. Is that so the facial interface here is kind of similar to the one that's on the PlayStation VR 2. It's
Yeah,
just
it has
like a
this.
rubbery thing. It doesn't have a soft cushion or something. So it's just this rubbery material, right?
But that
That
makes
it
sense because it's the
goes around.
same like the PSVR 2, as in the holo kind of
Yeah,
band, where
no,
the whole thing floats in front of your eyes, right?
that is not a problem. Yeah, I like it. I like
Yeah,
it.
okay.
It's just that when you flip it,
Uh-huh.
I found that this rubbery part
Yeah,
starts
I
like
know
it
what you mean. You're
folds.
right,
Did
you're
you notice?
right.
It
You're
folds.
right, you're
So
right.
what you need to
Then you have
do is
to,
kind of
yes,
push it a little bit back,
exactly.
which puts a strain on this mechanism here. I don't like pulling it that way because it's not supposed to be. So um, essentially, this is one of the moving parts here that raises the question of durability. How long
Mm-hmm.
until you do it too much and maybe it breaks,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not a replaceable head strap. It's all sort of a single piece that you're not supposed to disconnect. It's not supposed to come off. Yeah, the more moving pieces are here, the more there's a chance that something will come loose or something will break at some point. So,
Right.
but I do
They were
recommend.
very proud of this flip up mechanism. They said they have tried it like a million times, right? And they are quite confident in it. But we'll have to see, of course.
Yeah. I definitely will be using it.
Yeah, me too.
I'm like, okay, finally I can like maybe overcome my fear of PCVR setup that even with Quest and Quest Pro, I keep getting like occasionally I would get the three dots, link would not load for some reason, restart the headset, restart the computer. Okay, now it works. Just weird inconsistencies that come with headsets that can do both. I don't know if you've had any of those, but
Oh
just
yes.
occasionally, like with Quest, for some reason it just wouldn't load, and you have to restart it, and that fixes it. But it's it just takes time and it takes your patience. So you want something that works right away without having to fidget it a million times. So this is an awesome intro level, because obviously this is not as sharp as Crystal or Aero, but it's also
Yeah.
way cheaper.
But yeah, you're right. It is not as sharp as those super headsets, the super
Mhm.
expensive but super amazing headsets.
Yeah.
But honestly, I had such a good time in that headset even in terms of the visuals because of the display port, and we know how good the Quest 2 can look like if you feed it with virtual desktop at the highest level or even Airlink. So having that but uncompressed with this super binocular overlap and this wider FOV, honestly, this is a great visual experience.
Mhm.
And there's so many people who try to get the PSVR 2 working on the PC. I'm telling you, you could use this headset, and honestly, the first visual experience is better than in the PSVR 2 because the lenses are better. Really, like the sweet spot is better than the PSVR 2. The
Bigger.
edge clarity is better than the PSVR 2, right? The binocular overlap is better than the PSVR 2. So honestly, if this was my first VR experience, I would love it.
And you don't need to have a PhD in setting up connections and base stations. It has its own controllers, cameras, inside tracking, just like with PSVR 2. I think for the price, I mean, it's still more expensive than Quest 2, but we are talking about better visual quality
Yeah,
and
and better
easier
comfort.
and better comfort and easier setup times.
Yeah.
So all that considered, like it's nice. I didn't mention in my video that I had like my biggest, I guess, thing that I wish that they fixed is the controller feedback. So the controller
Interesting.
vibrations. And they did, thankfully, they did say that it is a known issue and they're working on it. Essentially, the vibrations in the controllers, when you compare it to, let's say, Quest 2, right? The vibrations are weaker and they are, well, not very consistent with the VR experience. And that is, of course, more noticeable in games that in which these vibrations are, they matter, like in Beat Saber or Synth Riders, where you have to feel that feedback when you're hitting the block or pushing the orb. I could just feel that they were very weak, and sometimes they were missing altogether if you were hitting
Okay.
those
Wow.
blocks very quickly.
Interesting.
And yeah, so that is something that bothered me because it made playing those rhythm games not nearly as satisfying as on the headset that has this really nailed down and
Okay.
works perfectly. But it
Interesting.
is something they said they were familiar with. So I
Cool.
was glad to hear that it wasn't something that they're like, oh, we had no idea, or it was something on my end. They did say that they're working on
Okay.
fixing it. It made me very hopeful.
Okay, nice. Yeah, let's talk about more issues with the device. So this is not
Mhm.
all great, unfortunately. So one big thing, I can only talk about the device, or I could only recommend it to people who have like a very average IPD, because what is missing here is the IPD adjustment. So there is software IPD, but there's no way to actually move the lenses. So therefore, it works perfectly for me because I am that average dude with 64 millimeters IPD interpupillary distance. But I cannot say if people with a smaller IPD or a bigger IPD can use it. So there is a software IPD, and I tried it. I put it down and put it up, and then I had problems with my eyes. So probably that means, okay, the software IPD is good enough to serve people with a small or a bigger IPD, but I don't know. So Tetiana, what is your IPD, and what is your thoughts about that part?
Mine is more like 62, I would say. Was still good for me.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would say that mine's still closer to a standard than some people, but I did ask my community to just share their experiences, those who have a more of a outside of the range. They did not really like the idea of not having mechanical IPD adjustment. And it's probably done to maybe make the headset lighter, maybe make the headset cheaper.
Yeah, but still, I think it's a. I think it's not a good idea not to have any, like, not to be able to move the lenses. But the good thing is, yes, the lenses do have a good sweet spot, so probably also people with 60 could use it. But well, I cannot say that. Right? I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that
Yeah,
is
that's
like a
just one of
bad.
the things that, obviously we can't test it in person. We can just talk about it as reviewers that it's not there. So
Yeah.
you'll have to try it. I think that another issue that was an issue for me was the overheating.
Okay. Yeah, that part I heard from you, but I didn't have that problem so much. But tell me more what you felt.
Maybe you were testing it on a cold German day.
Yeah, probably.
And
Probably
I'm
like
here
yeah, you're right. It
in
actually
warm
my
Texas.
okay, I hear it's cold. Agreed. Tell us
And
about the overheating.
yeah, well, to be honest, it was a really hot day when I was testing it right here. And essentially, the fans that are built in here to cool down the headset, they started working really, really intensely and, well, relatively loudly when I was playing several games. But what surprised me more is that even after I shut down the games and I put the headset in like a sleeping mode, they would not turn off. And I
Oh,
guess that they would keep working until they bring the headset to a lower temperature. But I waited for pretty long and it just kept working. And the headset kept like really, really warm.
okay.
And so warm, in fact, that you can feel it in your face. And as you know, being in VR already makes you very active. So you do everything you can to keep yourself like away from getting sweaty while you're playing, because it's uncomfortable. And having a hot headset on your face is just makes you want to take it off.
Okay.
So yeah,
Interesting.
I'm sadly, that's one thing that I've noticed, that it was getting really hot, or the fans were just not doing a good enough job to cool it down enough. So
Probably
that
that was
kind of bothered
probably
me.
that was the matter for me. Like my fans were actually like working on overdrive. Like for me it was noticeable. They were like starting and
Mhm.
then going down again and starting again. And actually
Okay.
that was a bit annoying for me. And
Okay.
I also told that to the team, and they said, okay, they are going to build some option into the software where instead of like the fans like turning on like crazy and going down again and turning on like crazy, there's going to be an option where they just consistently run, because the consistent running of a fan is not so bad in my opinion. Yeah, anyways, so that's something that we're going to watch more. Also, I'm going to watch it more in my unit, but I didn't feel it getting too hot. But yeah, probably it also depends on your temperature in your
Mhm.
room. Steve, we were just talking with each other and totally not
No,
asking
it's
you for your
fine.
questions.
I'm
Dude,
listening.
yeah,
I'm drinking and listening. I'm drinking
perfect.
again.
I love
No,
the
it's no, because
combination.
obviously I haven't got this headset, so I'm intrigued. But I just want to say, like, how great is it to have another middle ground VR headset be released?
Yeah.
That's the first thing, because we don't have enough of them. In fact, we don't have any. So it's great to see another. I don't want to say budget because it's still expensive. However, it really is good to see something that can, satisfy the sort of G2 Vive Pro perhaps sort of crowd. And I think the best thing about it for me is the 80s vibe, like the fluorescent sort of like frontal bit. It looks amazing.
Cool. It
It's
looks
not just
cool.
that, it also has an LED strip here. You can't see it because it's not
breathing.
Like Knight
dark.
Rider.
It's
Like
breathing.
Knight Rider. It's
And you
the
can
wrong way around.
and you can set it up to react to music or sounds. So I guess you won't be able to see it, but other people will see this light like moving like
No, I think
equalizer for
that's one of the most
music.
important features. I think that's very much needed on the Pimax as well. But no, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
The only thing is, though, is that for me, it all falls down when it's. I want to know about the Fresnel lenses. What are they like? What's the sweet spot like in comparison to say? Because I'm thinking here, I'm not thinking Reverb G2. I'm thinking Pico Neo 3 Link. What is it like in comparison to that? Because of the price as well.
Actually, it's great that you bring up the Pico Neo 3 Link. They are obviously very similar, right?
Yeah.
The Pico Neo 3 Link also has that Quest 2 display, the same thing. It also has DisplayPort. So they are very comparable. They are nearly the same, but without the standalone stuff. Which means, like, I believe you, for example, you don't really need that standalone stuff. So I don't think you need the battery there, right? So you get a Pico Neo 3 Link without the battery, and therefore it is lighter. So honestly, I really believe for people who want something like the Pico Neo 3 Link, like in Europe you can get it, but they don't care about the standalone stuff and would prefer to have a lighter headset with a bigger FOV. Yeah, the DPVR E4 is your option. It's a great option. I'm really surprised by this headset. And the sweet spot is good. It's very comparable to Pico Neo 3 Link.
But did you mention in terms of the resolution? Is it sort of Quest 2-ish? Did I hear one of you say
that? It's the same display like in the Pico Neo 3 Link and in the Quest 2. It's the same thing.
So how does that compare though to the G2? Obviously, it's not going to look as sharp, but obviously then the sweet spot's going to be larger. So you've got that, and it's a headset that's still being produced, unlike the G2, which is going to be discontinued fairly soon. So I suppose there's that to think about.
I mentioned that in my review. Does it mean you didn't watch it, Steve?
Yes, actually.
I got you. Okay, we are not watching each other's video in this podcast. Come on, that is bad. Okay, so I did compare it to the G2. So in the sharpest point, the G2 has a sharper image, but just like the Pico Neo 3 Link, I would still prefer actually now the DPVR E4 because it has the more consistent image over the whole field of view. The edge stretch clarity is great. So yeah, you have just like a more consistent and bigger FOV picture quality.
That makes sense
Yeah.
because even for me, I prefer using the Pico 4 wired than I do the G2, even though the G2 is still sharper in that center point. It's
it
that
is, yeah.
overall
Yeah.
display that looks better. So yeah, that makes sense to me. Okay.
The sweet spot then wins. Sweet spot for the win.
Right. So
Cool.
it is a pretty attractive choice.
Mhm.
But there's also more negatives to be talked about. Like the audio, I found it disgusting.
Disgusting.
Yeah, no, really.
Great.
Did you also have
Not
that feeling,
good.
Tetiana?
Yeah, it was not good.
It was like what? Like how?
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm really wondering what's going on with these headset manufacturers. Who is the person who says, okay, this quality is good enough? Like who will give that check mark? Like, okay, let's sell it like this to people. Nobody will find out.
Maybe
I don't get it.
I don't know, but maybe they just were hoping that most people would be using them with headphones because it has,
Yeah,
where you connect the headphones here, right here,
yes,
and that's
but yeah, you're right. But then also, that's also what DPVR told me. Like, yeah, you know what? Just use headphones. And yeah, okay, but no, like
yeah.
yes, you can put the 3.5 millimeters headphone jack there in the back, but it's also the position is not great, right? It's at this hub, so I recommend people who want this headset and who are going to buy it. I recommend them to buy wireless headphones. Like I'm using the Barracuda X from Razer, which have that dongle. You put the dongle into your PC, and then you have lag-free audio, right? Not
Lag-free.
Bluetooth audio, lag-free audio with a dongle, which is good, and that is needed in my opinion. I was unhappy about the audio. This is such a
Well,
nice headset, right?
in that case, they should include the headphones in the box.
All like
And
this, yeah, all
if
like
they
this.
think that it's not up to the quality that they are striving, that they should provide something to make up for that. Like in PSVR 2 doesn't have audio whatsoever in their headset, and they provide
Yeah,
little earbuds. So
exactly, and that works for me actually. That works for me. I'm okay with it, even though it's not perfect, but I'm okay with it.
yeah.
Also, though, I found it's still not perfect in terms of tracking. So sometimes when I would stay still and just observe, see what's going on with the tracking, I would see there's still some tracking issues, some micro stutter. I felt it's not yet perfectly, calibrated, or it's not still perfect. Did you also see that?
Actually, no, I don't
Okay.
think I have seen that. I have tried more. I guess I did pay more attention on the controller tracking as well.
Okay. How did it go?
In
How did that
addition
work
to
for
that,
you?
amazing.
Okay. Same here. Same here.
Amazing.
No
Again,
problem at all.
I played some rhythm games on hard and expert, and I was getting these high scores that I normally get, and I didn't notice. Like again, it was weird because of the controller vibrations, the inconsistency. I would hit
Okay.
something, sometimes I wouldn't get the vibration, or it would come late. I'm like, oh shoot, like did I miss a block or something? Because that's usually why you didn't get the vibration. But then I look at my score and I still have the streak. So I'm like, okay, so the tracking actually worked. Everything I hit, it counts it. So the tracking is awesome. And that is a great thing for the controllers, but they just need to fix the controller vibrations. But
Okay.
in games that are not rhythm based, right, that kind of tracking is that kind of vibration, I guess, is not as crucial. It shouldn't bother you too much. But
Right.
if I didn't have any issues playing Beat Saber on expert with these controllers, then any other games will be just perfect.
Nice. It's interesting how we find different kind of like little flaws. Like for me, I didn't even feel the problem with the vibration. It felt okay to me. But yeah, also the controller tracking was great. Totally agreed. But yeah, again, like the tracking of the headset was still not perfect. But they told me they can fix it, and they have like bi-weekly updates. But they do have to fix it. So DPVR E4, if you're watching this, I will recheck it.
I think all things considered, all the little things that we found, I haven't really noticed any of the deal breakers for me.
Yeah,
Or
in
something
game,
that
agreed.
or something that can be fixed with another software update. I mean, the vibrations, this kind of tracking, it's all probably very doable for them to
Just not the
manage.
IPD problem. So we need
Yes.
big and small IPD
And
people to
audio,
check it
I don't
out.
know about audio. Would they need
Audio,
to put in
no.
new hardware? Yeah,
They
so
would
that's
know.
but again, not the complete deal breaker, I would say.
Right.
Like if there was something more serious, like the software glitches, incompatibility with games, that would be a lot more maybe serious or lengthy to fix. But yeah,
Positively surprised. Cool. Positively surprised by
What
the
is this?
DPVR E4. Yeah.
What's the software like? Because as you say, Tetiana, it's a good point you've made about it being very accessible. Because anybody's first VR experience has to be a good one, otherwise you remember it, of course, as being negative. But in terms of the software, is it like a little sort of interface that goes between Steam VR and the interface, or is it just simple?
It's an app called DPVR Assistant.
Cool.
As soon as you fire it up, it shows you step by step how to connect everything. So you don't have to wonder or read through the manual. The app literally shows you everything. And as soon as everything is set up, there is a literal button that says Steam. So you click it and it runs Steam VR
it's super
right away.
simple.
Very simple. And I always review headsets from the perspective of a new VR user, because I have my channel is mostly curated towards in encouraging as many people as I can to try VR for the first time and get into it. So I can get technical, but I always try to make sure that my content is accessible to new VR users. So I always take the perspective of someone who has either never tried VR before or is very new to something. And I was very impressed by how easy it was to set up something. Putting myself in the shoes of someone who has never tried PC VR, I think it's just as easy as it should be.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. Cool. And let me just show it to you. I can just show you how it looks.
The software.
Just like, really, you're right. In my very good review video that you should watch.
Yeah, no, it's great. I'm just, watch.
So, this is what the software looks like.
Oh, yeah, it looks very clean.
It's very clean and simple. Here for the display, you can set up the hertz, right?
120 hertz.
It runs 120 hertz.
120 hertz, exactly. Yeah, it's so cool.
You can do some, the brightness, it's super bright. I run it at 62% because it's so bright.
No, that's not enough for me. I cranked it up to like 75. I love that bright display. First time I turned it on, first time I ran it, it was like the default maybe was 40.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my gosh.
You can crank it up a lot.
So bad.
A lot more.
And I'm glad that it was just the screen brightness that fixed it, because I got a bit concerned about the screen. But
it's very bright. Yeah, that is the DPVR E4. A really positive surprise. Nice. Mm-hmm. Any more questions, Steve, or should we move on now to the Pimax?
Probably should move on because we're getting we're getting hours already.
Yeah, exactly.
So, we should crack on with it, I think.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the Pimax Crystal. Most of you outside there know it. It's the new flagship headset from Pimax, which people could pre-order, and they are now sending out the first headsets. I'm going to get the mass production unit next week. And Tetiana and Steve, you have already gotten your device. So today I want to hear about your experiences with the Pimax Crystal. And let's start with Steve. So how was it? How's everything going with it?
Yeah, I mean, I was.
Well, you both can talk about it.
Very excited when I first got it, and I thought the best way I can really sort of showcase my feelings is to just press record and then try it out as for the first time on camera, because I always say those raw impressions you can't get them back again. So anything bad, anything good was going to go in the video, whether Pimax liked it or not. Sorry, but it was going in the video.
I love that.
And unfortunately, it after the unboxing process, and all that, in terms of the build quality, can I just say that I was a little bit underwhelmed by it. I do feel the 8KX feels better in terms of its build quality than the Crystal.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Not by a massive amount, but just it does feel a little bit. I'm not going to say cheap. I don't think it feels cheap, but I was hoping for a bit more from it, considering it is a premium device. However, I think that's probably because I'm used to the Aero, and the Vario Aero.
The Aero feels better.
It does, yeah. It really does.
Like in terms of build quality, it's
and just that desirability. You know
also,
what I mean?
Index feels also better.
Yeah.
Also G2.
Quite a lot there, really.
Quite a lot. Ooh, yeah. I really think they are on the road to getting better, but they're not there yet in terms of how it feels.
Yes, absolutely. But glossing over that point of view, I was really excited to try it, but my headset just did not want to start. I had all sorts of issues with it straight away. So I reached out to Pimax, and yes, they was available to me because I'm a YouTuber. So they was talking to me. It was midnight in China, and they was helping me out. But that's not going to be like that for you guys buying it. So I was very aware that I had a lot of issues to start with it, and I mentioned that in my review. In fact, it was quite funny because my first impressions of me unboxing it, I was wearing a t-shirt or whatever, and then when I was like, right, now we're going to try it, I'm wearing different clothes because it was a different day. So that's really good. And I said that in the video. I thought that was quite funny. Like, I'm looking completely different in the next part of the video.
Yeah, I know. I remember that part. Yeah, I was.
I had a beer and everything. I joking. But anyway, so I thought, oh damn, that's annoying. Of course, that's not great. But then when I finally did get it working, I was like, right, let's go for it. And I admit, I love the Aero. I do. And I didn't want this to look better than the Aero. It does look better than the Aero. It does. Agreed. And I was kind of annoyed to say that because I wanted to disagree with you, Seb, because you've been telling me all along, Steve, it's better than it looks better. No, it doesn't. I don't believe you. It does. And there's a lot of factors for that.
I'm glad that you saw it yourself now.
No, yeah.
So
we were looking forward for you to try it because
so dear Vario, this is not about bashing you. We love the Aero, and it has so many good things going for it, right? But, well, we have to admit there's now a headset that is sharper than the Aero.
Yeah, and it's not to do with the crazy over resolution, because I think, I'm not sure if this is intentional, I'm sure it's not, but the Pimax is reporting a high resolution, like a crazy high resolution in OpenXR and Steam VR, which makes your performance dead. Even my 4090 was getting 20 frames per second. So once I'd realized that, eventually, after my first impressions video, I had to post something straight away, like a 2-minute video of me sort of using it at the same sort of resolution values as the Aero. And even then, it's still sharper than the Aero. And a lot of that is because of the field of view. Everything feels so much bigger, and it just fills your vision just that bit more. But also, of course, the obvious thing is the QLED panel. Those colors absolutely pop out like crazy. I was very, very impressed with that. Like, for instance, this little panel here, like all the dark bits would be beautifully pitch black, and then all the writing would just really come out. And I've actually posted a video tonight of me flying at night time, and with the local dimming as well as the QLED together, it's a winning combination. And I think even maybe the glass lenses are having something to do with it. I don't know, because I'm using the one I've got has got glass lenses. I just feel like, it's amazing. It's the best visuals in VR to date. And then when I was experiencing that, all of those other niggles and problems fell to the back of my mind until the next time I tried it and it didn't work again. However, I've had a firmware update yesterday. It was yesterday morning.
Yeah, it was actually yesterday, yes.
It was yesterday, wasn't it? And since then, I've had no issues at all. And I've used it for 6 hours.
Oh, the firmware update worked and did not break the device?
Well, for me, but then
I'm guessing is the key word here, Steve. For me.
This is where the problems lie, you see. It's such a personal experience. And if the firmware, I hold my breath when I update the firmware on a Pimax, because I have had a headset brick before. I'm guessing that's what's happened to you. So that's my impressions of it so far. But overall, can I just quickly say that I think overall, it's a very ambitious headset for the price, like £1,200. That's basically what it's going to be for British pounds, for a headset that has aero quality, inside-out tracking, audio, wireless capability. I don't like the battery, by the way. We'll get into that maybe later. I'm not keen on the battery life. The battery in general. But overall, oh my God, the display is so good that I am loving it now. I am really enjoying it. I really am. It's brilliant. And I think if they can sort out those niggles, it is superb. And yeah, Lars has just said to me, don't forget the frame rate. The frames on it, the FPS, the performance is the same as the Aero, guys. Honestly, that first impressions video is because the resolution is reported as far too high. But once you take it down, which I've worked out how to do it, I can do a tutorial on that before you'll get your Pimaxes. It's very easy. You just use OpenXR Toolkit, override the resolution, get it down to what it should be. I'm getting 60 frames per second with obviously a 4090, but that's about the same as the Aero.
I did that through the lens footage at the Pimax headquarters of
and that was
50.
50. You was using Steam VR though,
and there was but that was already so good at 50. I loved the experience at 50 already.
Yeah, the fact you was using Steam VR and you was getting 50 odd frames per second is even better because I'm using Pimax XR, which should be better in performance anyway.
Got it.
Yeah.
Anyways, now. Tetiana, tell us about your experience.
Your face says it all.
Your face it speaks.
Ready to let leash
a lot already.
Here we go. It's coming.
Okay.
It's coming.
First of all, let me tell you why my experiences or my raw reactions, which I did not record, were different from Steve's. I have tried Pimax Crystal before. So in terms of clarity, the visuals, the FOVs, the local dimming, I have already had that first kind of a honeymoon phase of when I made a video and then I made another one, after the roadshow and then after CES, when I said, oh my gosh, this is the king of clarity. I literally titled my video like that because I thought that is the best visual clarity that you can see in virtual reality consumer headset to date. Like that is exactly what Steve said. So this is all valid and I'm standing by that. Like this is true. Like it is what you can expect from this headset. But when I received it here in my studio, I wouldn't be focusing as much on that because I've already known what to expect from this headset in terms of its visuals. My main goal to review this headset was exactly the things that Steve and myself had issues with, and that is, of course, setup. If you check my channel, you'll see that there's no Crystal video yet on my channel, even though I've already had it since I came back to content creation, I think maybe almost a week.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And Steve, I haven't watched your videos yet.
That's fine,
wow.
honestly.
It seems like we're all not watching our videos.
Because
That's bad.
I was way too involved. I was working on setting up Pimax and making it work pretty much every day since then. And I was not watching anybody's videos.
Feel free to, if you have problems, Tatiana, reach out to me because
I also have, just like you said, we are content creators, we are reviewers. It's in Pimax's best interest to provide us with all the support that they have. So I have an ongoing communication with them. But the fact that every day I have almost a Word document of things that I am dealing with to send them as a feedback says a lot. And essentially I'm trying to give it more time because I'm, again, if you check my channel, I kind of have a more of like a shorter form, polished, a comprehensive video review. I normally don't make multiple videos on the same thing. I kind of pull it up in one package, and that's why it takes longer, because I'm just simply not ready to prepare that package, because I still don't think that I have everything set up in a way that it should be working. And I will not be sharing too many thoughts about it, but I will just say many things did not and do not work the way they are supposed to, and the way I experienced them in the roadshow and at the CES, because then the environment was controlled. and the headset was already preset. So all I had to care about is checking the visuals and how well they work. And second time, how well the controller tracking was working, which is still, great. But in terms of setting it up and making things work and making things connect and track and be consistent with the gaming performance, again, just coming from DPVR and all the nice things that I said about it, I cannot say those things about Pimax Crystal.
But it's interesting because
what is the actual problem? Sorry, what problem do you have right now? Because they also had a unit in Taiwan, right? And well, I had also had initial problems that they then fixed, but then I could basically use it very nicely with everything I wanted.
Okay, I can share a couple. So in my studio, my place right here in my studio, I have a computer. This one has RTX 3090 Ti.
Yes.
My backup computer that's in a different room has 3080.
Okay, yep, you're good.
Both of them would work great for PC VR gaming,
Right.
regardless of the headset. Pimax Crystal refused to connect to my main computer.
Ah, okay,
To
that's a
3090
problem.
Ti.
Yeah, that's a problem.
The HDMI would simply not get recognized. And
Okay.
I was told that somehow the connection strength is very, very weak on this particular graphics card.
What, 3080?
3090 Ti.
What?
3080 has no issues. No, 3080 it connected.
So what? You've got
It's about the
3090.
GPU. It's about the GPU, not about the power of the GPU. It's about the
It's
GPU.
about the actual GPU. Yeah. So
okay, interesting.
and they shipped me a DP, like DisplayPort repeater. So it's like a little device that boosts that connection. So first of all, if this is a known issue for them, they should include it in the box. If this is an issue with this particular GPU, which is a good GPU, it's a great GPU.
3090 Ti.
3090 Ti.
Yeah, well, the G2 doesn't run on that.
The what doesn't work?
The Riva G2 often doesn't run on the 3090 Ti.
Do they provide some kind of a receiver or something?
No, obviously, because when the G2 came out, the 3090 Ti wasn't out by then. Okay. But there is something about that GPU that has a problem with some VR headsets. Well, I'm not vouching for Pimax on this or anything, but there is, for whatever reason, that GPU has a bit of an issue with the G2. So I find that's interesting, isn't it? Now
that is something that I had to discover as a user. No, nobody told me. There's no disclaimer that would say something like that. But furthermore, to my computer with 3080, it did connect, and then it didn't connect. And then it connected, and then it didn't connect again.
I got that one.
So it just kept being this inconsistency in performance that just like, okay, so I can't just pray to the god of VR that this time it's going to connect to my 3080. So when I received this repeater, I used it on my 3080, and now I have no issues.
You have new issues or no issues?
No, I have now. With the connection, it pretty much gets connected every time.
Okay.
However, a couple of times I had to switch a DisplayPort to a different one. So the issues are so random, and they are so unpredictable that it makes this headset kind of a gamble to set up. And I have two computers with two great GPUs that work with other headsets that I have, but have these multiple issues with Pimax. And this is only one issue that I'm willing to tell you. And I've spent many days trying to make it work. So
yeah,
I know that
this is frustrating.
There's a large community, that I have that actually actively asking me when and am I going to release my Pimax Crystal review. And this is probably the first time. This is the first time that I have to delay this review because if I do a review now, it's just not going to be a good one.
Just put it out there. I would, because the people need to know about it. I
will talk about these things, and there are other things to talk about. I try to give them a fair chance to fix what they can fix, But even with like, okay, let me try just one thing. I tried several games. And right before this show, actually, maybe 3 hours before the show, I wanted to try a flight simulator. So the Microsoft Flight Simulator. It looked like it worked for you, Steve, because you made a video about it.
It looks phenomenal. It's the best of the best, you know. But
But-
obviously, I have got a 4090 though, which is a hugely different card to a 3090 Ti. It's like 150% more power. You know, it's a massively different card. Like a 3090 Ti, it's kind of annoying you've got that really, because it's a great card. Don't get me wrong, but it's also really awkward for VR. So I do think that's the problem there. But especially now it's working on a 3080. But you still should be able to work it on a 3080.
But I'm not even talking about the performance. Again, we are talking about setup.
Yeah, the G2 doesn't even connect to a 3090 Ti. It doesn't even actually, you can't switch it on with
I
with that
tried
card.
it at my 3080, and I connected it, and I could see the cinematic mode of the the Microsoft Flight Sim,
Okay.
and the app would say that the headset is not detected, so I couldn't play it in the VR.
But
Oh,
did you set up like OpenXR to run in Steam VR? Like in the Steam VR advanced settings, you have to set it up to use OpenXR through Steam VR.
Yeah, that's
Well, do I
yeah.
have to set it up for every headset? Because
Yes, that's
tried
for every single headset you have to do that.
separate. So
That
it's
has
not
nothing to do with Pimax.
well, because it did run on other headsets, so I didn't have to do it I didn't have to repeatedly do it for other headsets.
Okay.
No, like for instance, I have like Seb, I've got like a wall of headsets now, and every time I use a different headset, I have to make sure that the runtime
Okay.
is communicating with that headset, if that makes sense. So like with the G2, it's Windows Mixed Reality. With like Pico, it's not Airlink, bloody virtual desktop Steam VR, and then obviously Pimax XR. This is good though, because you've got on one side me and Seb who are quite techie. We know these things, and then not to say you don't, Tetiana, at all, but people are going to buy this headset with from different levels of experience, and
People are,
they will have this issue.
Yeah, many people have asked me about exactly this. Like, how do I get Microsoft Flight Simulator running in my VR headset? And then I always tell them, okay, go to Steam VR, go to advanced settings, and say that yes, use OpenXR with Steam VR, and then normally it will work. So
I sticking to the angle of someone who is trying to figure this out for the first time. I'm finding other issues. Again, I don't want to take all the time of the podcast to talk through them all, but some of them have to do with the specific game performance. Like this particular game, controllers don't work properly. In this particular game, the headset keeps like going backwards on its own without me moving. So there are strange things that are happening, and they are happening in different games, and you can't really predict what's going to happen next, and it's kind of driving me insane. I've questioned some of my life choices, and again, it's not in the official review yet. None of this is. I'm giving it time. I'm giving them a fair chance to address them. But as I'm finding them, I'm communicating with them. I'm still a tester. I still think that I'm like an early adopter of this headset. There is a chance that because of the feedback that I'm giving them, they, users who will receive this headset, who have pre-ordered it, will get a better experience. But it is. I don't remember a headset that would take me as much time to review it as Pimax Crystal.
You know what? I totally understand it, and I must agree with Tetiana. Like, I saw it from you. You communicated with me, and it feels like there's completely no onboarding from Pimax with these headsets. It seems like they're just sending them out to content creators like us, and then we receive a box. And now we have to figure it out by ourselves from how everything works. And I gave this feedback to Pimax, like, okay, guys, you must like onboard the content creators and also obviously in the future like the
Mhm.
customers like in the right way, like
Paying customers, 'cause they pay a lot.
what software should we install now, and how does everything exactly work, right? You
Yeah.
cannot just like send
Yeah.
it out and then expect the customers to figure out everything by themselves, because it's really frustrating. And
Mm.
also for the crystal, for the earlier crystal that I got in Taiwan, it's just the same. I got the thing, it worked in the first beginning, then there was a firmware update, and boom, in the middle of the firmware update, it stopped and it was breaked again. So then it took like a couple of days for them to fix it. They had to go on my computer like remotely, and then it worked. But the onboarding, it was really bad. So I gave that feedback recently after I saw that the same thing happened with you and Steve. I gave them this feedback, and I hope they understood it. And I hope for the next content creators and for consumers that this onboarding process is going to get better.
Well, it's in their best interest, because imagine, we're getting the testing units for free. It's in our, it's our job basically to review them. We are having a hard time, but we have the patience
Yeah, that's the
to
point.
go
like-
through it. It is something that we do. A paying customer will have no patience.
Yeah,
And
but
they
even
will
our
have-
patience
they
will run
be-
out.
Yeah, and they will, true that, and they will be a lot more vocal about these issues. Like I'm having a really hard time holding back, not making a very ridiculous ranting video, even in this podcast. I'm giving you some information about what I'm dealing with, but there are other things that I'm working through. And a regular user will go on every social platform, on every subreddit, and will yell as loudly as possible.
That's the point.
It's not working.
Exactly. So they're missing this kind of like really good onboarding, right? Like this. Okay, this is how it exactly works. I think, I don't know. It's just not good enough. And hopefully they understood. I believe they understood my message loud and clear. That's what the feeling that I got. And now I'm also receiving the mass product unit, the unit that the consumers are going to get. And now I already felt like, okay, now they a person that is especially there for onboarding me send me an email before. Okay, Sebastian, you're going to get this. Here's the tracking number, and here's a PDF document with these things which are in the box. These things are working. These things are not working. You can always connect with me. So it seems like they understood it, right? But it's super unfortunate that it didn't happen directly like this for you, Tetiana, and also for you, Steve, right?
Well, again, some of these are onboarding issues. Some of these are literal like compatibility issues. So some
of course.
Yeah. Also, like the 3090 Ti didn't work with the Varia Aero either.
Yeah, that's a problem.
There was so many headsets that didn't work with it.
But I have been mostly testing it on 3080.
Yeah,
because I've been waiting for the repeater and I haven't had it. So most of the testing was done on my 3080. So of course I had to lowering some of the quality settings, but still it would run. Like it's not a headset it's not a GPU that's not strong enough for a Crystal. It's strong enough.
It's not.
There were just some. They told me it is. They told me like, yeah, it should work.
Now I think 4070, 4080 is minimum.
Okay, what does it say about Crystal? And let's.
It's a high-end headset. It's a high-end headset.
What does it say about Crystal? If my 3080 and 3090 Ti, I have two good graphics cards, and none of them can actually allow me to test Pimax Crystal. What does it?
Well,
what does it say about this headset?
Yeah. Well, I must say, 3080 should work. Like I tested it on a mobile 3080, and I could use it. It was not great.
Okay.
Obviously, it was really not good enough.
It's supposed to be a laptop with 3080, right? I have an actual.
Have you got a new computer, Seb, for this? Have you got a computer ready for the Crystal? Or are you going to use it on your laptop?
No. I have a 3080 here right now.
Okay.
I will try it on the 3080 as well, and then I'm also going to test it on the 4090.
I'm looking forward to knowing what it's like. In fact, everyone wants to know on my channel at the moment what is it like with a 3080? I don't
Yeah,
have a 3080.
I will tell
You
you.
will have.
Yeah,
Yeah, I actually want to know what MSFS, and all the rest of it, how they work with a 3080.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be that great. You'll definitely have to lower the resolution. It won't work at native resolution.
Right.
I don't think.
Yeah. I suppose though that those people who really pay like 2,000 euros for this headset,
Exactly.
they are most probably those enthusiasts that have a 4090,
Of course.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I would say so.
Yeah, but
Mostly, anyway.
But you know, but it's so unfortunate that Tetiana and also me in the beginning, we had these kind of problems, right? I mean, this is really, Pimax must be much more careful, I think, and the onboarding has to be much better. You know, I think Tetiana for sure has told them that she has a 3090, or they should ask her, "Hey, Tetiana, what kind of GPU are you going to use?" And then Tetiana tells them, "Hey, I have a 3090 Ti," and then they must directly tell Tetiana, "Hey, there's lots of problems with this card for VR," and then she doesn't need to spend like 2 days trying it. You right, Tetiana?
Yeah, I honestly, I do. I know. I really feel for you, Tatiana. I feel the frustration because I know how I felt just with my little problem I had, and I was so annoyed. And that was a whole day I wasted.
Because
if I even messaged you,
we waste, right?
yeah, I messaged you, Seb, and said I really want to get this video out, but I can't because of this problem.
Yeah.
And I couldn't fix it, and I'm a tech geek, so it is a problem.
So it is probably the most frustrating thing about it is exactly that, because I have a full-time job, right? So I work 8 hours a day already.
Just
Seb's a
only-
YouTube
on top
god,
of
though.
that, I have, on top of that,
I just relax.
for those of you who don't know, I'm 7 months pregnant. I'm getting tired.
Yeah, of course.
I have my channel that I love dearly, but sometimes I have very little energy to work on it. And the hours that I do have to work on the content to go on my channel are precious, and they're limited. And they're mostly weekends, because after work, after 8 hours of work, it's just really hard to get yourself to test hardware. If I have to spend 2 or 3 hours solve some issues that I shouldn't be dealing with, like I shouldn't be dealing with the connection problems.
I totally get it.
It just gets me so discouraged from going on with the review. And it makes me so, jealous, because like there's a video from Steve. He already made 3. Oh my God, I still can't even get 5 things to work.
I will put them out as well soon as well.
Yeah, hurry up.
So, yeah,
seriously, Tatiana, please let me know
I totally
if you
get
want
it,
any issues. I could probably solve them for you. There's a couple of pieces of software that might actually help you. Get the runtime sorted, get the resolution sorted, and then get that video up and running for you, because I reckon
maybe
that's all you
that's
need.
just finding the right resolution. I did lower all the way for my 3080. Maybe there needs to be more, but yeah, there's just so much tinkering that I was like praying that Crystal wouldn't have the same issues that 8KX had in terms of setup. So far, it looks like I'm kind of going through the same thing, wasting a lot of time. And just not getting their results, not even getting enough opportunity to create that content, because that's just basic setup is taking forever. By the way, hi Guy Godin. We were just talking about you earlier in the
exactly. Hello, Guy.
Yes.
We did talk about you
So
in a very positive way.
To go back to the Sidequest part, we do mention you, Guy.
Yeah, just to say, actually, that is a good
exactly.
point. When I said about the 4080, 4090, I'm thinking from my point of view, a flight simmer, because like DCS, Microsoft Flight Simulator, they are beasts. They are the crisis of our generation. So you do need, I'm sorry, guys, this is bad news for you, but you're going to need the top GPU for flight sims. But however, for gaming, VR gaming, you probably don't need that. Probably a 3080 is going to be enough to say play some games. I don't know what games.
Alex.
Yeah, maybe even Half-Life Alex.
It worked on my mobile 3080.
Yeah,
it's
just
so optimized, right?
It's just the heavy flight sims. Right, it's just the heavy flight sims that you're going to need that beast of a card.
Yeah.
But however, I am really intrigued to see what it's going to run like on a 3080. I'm getting a new computer soon from Stormforce that I'm going to get like a budget computer, and I'm going to try the Pimax Crystal on that anyway.
Yeah.
But I think you'll get that there first, Seb. So yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
I will see how good is a 3080 with this machine, and then compare it with 4090. But anyways, I can absolutely totally understand Tetiana's frustration. And for me, it was like I had to be super super patient when I received the device until it worked. And then I just let the Pimax engineers do their things remotely, and I went out to eat. But yeah, if I was in Tetiana's position, in a similar position, then
Pregnant as
yeah,
well.
yeah, pregnant, yeah. Looking at my
You'd be very
beer
rich.
belly, my wife tells me, "Oh, you are actually
Where's your beer tonight,
pregnant."
Seb? I've got
Yeah,
mine. What's going on?
yeah, right. Yeah. So, anyways, I understand it. So, yeah, let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes. Pimax must get absolutely better with that. I really hope that Tetiana, you will get it working somehow, and you can actually test it and get some videos out.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
so Steve said that once he got it to work, all those little setup kind of hiccups went to the back of his head.
It will. It will. Once you
For
see it.
For me, so far it's been the other way around, because I did get some games to run.
That's
Like, for
true.
example, Half-Life Alyx, that's probably the only game I tried that had no performance issues or no like weird hiccups, strange performance kind of anomalies. And yeah, that was nice. But the
Okay.
frustration I had with the setup overpowered. For me, it
Okay.
overpowered all the positives from the visuals that I was getting.
Damn. Yeah. Yeah.
Just-
It's a
yeah.
fact, and it needs to be said, and that is good. That is really good.
Just to say that I have just, if you want to see what it looks like with a 4090, just go over to my channel and just, that is probably the best VR footage I've ever taken or recorded, and it's with the Crystal, because the performance on it is absolutely amazing. And for some reason, I think it might be because of it's a heavier headset, the movement is nowhere near as bad. It looks like I'm using Track IR or something. It's that beautifully smooth. So it is, once you get it dialed in, it's amazing, but it's still very much beta at the moment. And I really, really hope they can get those issues sorted out. But I think Pimax has always been that sort of high-end level, prosumer device, but they are trying to sort of step away from that a little bit and try and be more plug and play, especially with the wireless capabilities. So I really do hope that they get those things sorted out. But I was quite surprised when I got my headset and I got nothing with it, no setup, no nothing, just a headset. And I thought,
Yep,
okay,
just a
right,
headset.
and that's
Let's go for it. Yeah, I got
I was a bit confused.
code.
Yes, exactly.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I did. As I told you, I gave them this feedback very sternly, and I do hope it's going to get better in the future for the next content creators that are going to get it. And let's see. Yeah, Pimax, you got to improve. It's such a promising headset. I truly believe that this is going to be the headset for enthusiasts. Right, like once it's running, it's great, and
It's very comfortable
it's
as well, by
fantastic.
the way.
It's a really beautiful headset and the best visuals with a nice FOV. So, yeah, it is great, but it's so
but that's
sad
the
to have
thing.
that problem.
Yeah, it's too bad, because it is the best graphics you can find in the consumer VR. It is more affordable than Vario Aero. Why not just like, okay guys, let's make this comprehensive guide. We will include the most amazing
Exactly.
games, the setup for every game, information about every GPU, what kind of issues people
Problem,
may
exactly.
expect. Like, if they assemble a team of like one person or two people, they can write that guide in a day. It's really not that hard. If it's all about onboarding, they can solve these issues with one little PDF document.
And this
But
would have solved so much of your frustration.
it would.
Right. I mean, just the information that if you
Just come up
directly got it, if there was directly the information, hey, be careful. If you have a 3090 Ti, you might have issues like with other headsets. They have the
I've
same issue.
already-
Boom! You would
They
feel
probably don't
better,
know
right?
themselves.
You
I've
wouldn't even
already
have tried
provided
so
them.
long.
I've already provided them with probably most of the
Damn.
information that they need to include in that FAQ PDF document, and they can just turn it into an FAQ like Note 1, Note 2, GPU, game settings, resolution settings. Just create that freaking document and make the life of your users so much easier.
Okay, I'm going to send this podcast to the Pimax people with timestamps so that they will know. and hopefully everything is going to get better. Yeah, it needs to be better. Yeah. Okay. Now we have already talked for 2 hours and 27 minutes. I believe it's enough now. And yeah, I still have lots of things to talk about the big screen beyond. But you know what? I have not even done the video about it on the channel. So I'm first going to do that. And then next week, I'll discuss more about the big screen beyond.
I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
They're sending me one as well, but
Great.
not straight away. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that's like. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's cool. It's cool.
that is, yeah. Well,
it's cool.
I've heard nothing but great things about it at the
Yeah.
moment. So
And
I'm really
not everything
intrigued.
is great, but yeah, you will see on MRTV soon. Yeah, good. Tetiana, how are you doing after relieving some of that stress to the world?
Good. It feels good. I'm happy to finally get it off my chest because I've been
Yeah.
keeping it in. It's not in the video yet because I
Yeah.
felt like it would be, if I start, it would be
Wow.
hard for me to stop.
You know what? I got that. When I was reading your message on Discord, I could feel, wow, you really had this frustration. I could feel it through Discord, just through text. Like, oh my goodness, what's going on?
Yeah.
Just rest assured, like mine is working perfect now. I have to say I've
Yeah.
had no issues with it in 2 days.
Mine
I know
too
2
now, yeah.
days, but I've used it a lot in those 2 days. I've had no issues with it, and it's actually becoming one of my it's actually probably almost my favorite headset. The only reason why it isn't is because I've had 1,000 hours now of use in the Vari Aero, so that the Crystal needs to prove itself to me now. But it is my favorite headset in terms of the wow factor. It's amazing. So just stick at it, and
let me
eventually
ask you
you'll love
though,
it.
Stick
Let
at
me
it.
ask you, which games have you tried? Have you tried? I mean, I know you tried Microsoft Flight Sim. Is there anything else you tried?
Well, I'm laughing because it's me, isn't it? I tried DCS World and MSFS, so Microsoft Flight Simulator. That is it. So the two big heavy hitter flight sims. Because I've only had it for 5 days so far.
Let me
I
just
tried.
like a little challenge for outside of the podcast. Run a little app called Aircar.
Aircar, okay.
And Aircar, Sebastian, do you?
I know it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't know, it's less than a gigabyte probably. It's just a little, almost like a demo where you're flying in a nice, like a spaceship in a futuristic city.
Cool. Yeah, I'm up for
Try it
that. I've
with
had a few
Crystal.
drinks. That might be quite interesting. Yeah, send me a link or something to it, and
Absolutely.
I'll
Try it
try
with
it.
Crystal and just let me know if controllers will work for you.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
I've tried it with more, right? With Star Wars Squadrons, which was incredible. The best Star Wars Squadrons experience that I ever
I've
had.
got that actually. I need to.
It's
really
great. It's Star Wars. You're in that TIE fighter, and lots of
with
space,
the black levels,
right?
as
With the
well.
black, it's fantastic.
Wow.
I was like so blown away, and loved it. That was really amazing. Also, I tried Elite Dangerous with it. The same thing, space, right?
Yeah.
Okay, dark blacks and all the other stuff looked fantastic. Great. Like,
Local dimming is great there.
People who love Elite Dangerous are going to dig that, right? The real black levels. Then I tried Automobilista 2. I was blown away. I'm not even like a racing sim fan. I became a racing sim fan because of GT7, right? In the PlayStation VR 2. But then in that, wow, it just felt next level. So yeah, we need to also stress that it can provide you with amazing experiences. But I do understand Tetiana's frustration. I totally had that also the same. But I can just say once it runs, then it's going to be great. I believe it. I truly believe it. So don't give up yet on it.
I will not. I mean, again, it is kind of my job. I'm not. But if it is a user who's paying for this experience, how many users will have the patience to spend 2 days setting it up to get there?
That's why it's great to have that feedback. And it's super great to be so honest here, right? Giving them this feedback. Actually, I hope that this can help them to make this PDF guide. Like they make this PDF guide not just for creators, obviously, but for all the consumers that have bought it, so that they can read it and can directly find out, okay, 3090 Ti, there might be problems, and to take 2 days or 3 days of frustration from them. Right. So I hope if we achieve just this, with today's episode of the podcast, I believe it's already a great episode. It was already a great episode. Yeah. Anyways, but I think, we do provide value here to Pimax and hopefully to all the consumers in the future.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I believe that's it. For the Next Dimension podcast, season 3, episode 18. And I hope you guys enjoy that pure honesty that comes out of this podcast, right? Positive things, negative things, everything's going to happen here. Not at all sponsored by any of the headset companies. That's what you get here on the Next Dimension podcast. So if you enjoyed that, give it a thumbs up right now. And do leave us a great review, probably on Spotify or on iTunes. So get out your iPhone or your iPad, open the podcast app, and find us, the Next Dimension podcast, so that more people can enjoy this wonderful podcast, I might say. And also do leave a comment here for us. And I just see, wow, $20. Thank you so much.
Wow, you can share that between us all.
Well, I should do that. Yeah, I'm going to buy a beer for you next time. Do you
So
think the
I've had
Vision
plenty
Beyond
of
SMD could do inside tracking with a cell phone, front-facing size cameras? Yeah, they probably could do that. Yeah, but they don't do that because this is a Lighthouse headset. Anyways, we will talk about this in the next episode, probably. Right. So, anyways, going to the end, do leave a comment as well for the algorithm so that YouTube knows, yes, I want to watch 2.5 hour long YouTube videos here with rants and with guests and with all the goodness. That would be amazing. So that's everything that we got for this week, and we're looking forward to see you in the next one. Until then, bye-bye.
See ya.
Cheers.
Yeah, I love this episode. It's great. It's great to voice that frustration as well sometimes, because it's real. It's real.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know what else to do. I mean, at some point you have to talk about it because, as a tester, I want to give them a chance to respond. But if it gets too much, it gets too much,
Yeah, they need to get better on this. But really, I so strongly gave them exactly this feedback after I realized, how frustrating it is for you guys. That there's no onboarding. That's ridiculous. These are probably
written a petition. Like he should have had this collected signatures from both Steve and myself.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Petition to create an onboarding document.
But the thing is, like, these are most probably one of the most important videos about the headsets, about this headset, right? The first impression, the first review videos are so important. And how can you not onboard those creators in the most amazing way? I can
sorry, go on.
Yeah, I can still remember when Steve and we got the Arrow. You know what we got? We got a very nice Zoom call before we got the unit, just to let us know what's going to happen. How to set it up and everything. Then it arrived, and they were always ready to onboard us in the best possible way. There was a document, how to set everything up. Everything was just like, okay. I didn't even find a way to set it up not correctly.
Yes, it's possible.
It was impossible.
Very simple.
Yeah, right. So
this is why the Aero is still my favorite headset, really. Even though technically the Crystal is, because I love it so much already, the Crystal has to show me now that it's going to be reliable. It's not going to make me tear my hair out, and that will only come with time. But I do feel for both of you guys, if you've got any problems, please let me know, because I will know how to help you and set it up.
Perfect.
And probably that's even my video, the first moments of it was me having problems, and that's me. So, you know what I mean? So you're gonna have.
I'm gonna watch it.
So, in some ways, perhaps it should be good for you to watch it, just so you know that you're not on your own, sort of thing with it.
Yeah.
That is perfect. Yeah.
So
Also,
you'll
if
see me change clothes in a matter of an instant. Hang on,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Also, if anyone in the future has any problems with the hardware, you can always go to the MRTV Discord server or to the VR Flight Sim Guy Discord server. Or Tetiana, do you have a Discord server?
I have a Discord server. You can come and
Okay.
complain about it. There.
Okay.
We will run together.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so you're not alone, right? Please check out our stuff. We have amazing Discord servers to help you. But in the best case, obviously, you don't have to go to this Discord servers, but everything is perfectly laid out for you in that Pimax Crystal box, like in that document. Ah, it's so sad. It hurts me to see that, because I actually see that the device is amazing. Really, I really like it. Once you have overcome these problems, it can become an amazing headset. Well, I'm looking forward now to get the mass production unit, the one that the consumers will get. It's going to arrive here next week. So let's see. Let's see how the setup progress will be.
Expecting some messages from you on that day. Then.
Yeah, exactly. Steve, what's going on? Yeah, let's see. So but it's important that we give them this feedback. I believe they have understood now my very strong feedback that it cannot be like this for onboarding people. Let's see what the next creators will say. Let's see what the first customers will feel. But this needs to get better.
Yeah.
Okay. Rant over.
Well, guess what I'm going to do after this podcast?
Send them some feedback, or
No,
try it out.
Continue trying, and I'll try the OpenXR thing on Steam to try the Microsoft Flight Sim. But yeah, I've been testing it before this podcast, and I will probably do it after.
Right. Okay, that's everything now for today's podcast. This was the little after show, still ranting. Today's the rant episode.
I started it.
Yeah, but it was quite fun. Okay. Yeah, right. That's everything. See you in the next episode. Until then, bye-bye. Don't forget the comment if you enjoy these kind of shows. Yeah, we're simply saying what's happening. And that's it. Bye-bye.